Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here, and it's Saturday, and I'm jumping in just a slightly early to start the stream today. Saturday Share Love Club for Hubie Brown. Hubie Brown turned 90 this week on the 25th, and there's reports that came out in the last 2 days that this season will be the last NBA season that Hubie Brown will be doing commentary for. Now, Hubie is a very interesting guy. He's been around forever. Forever. This dude was coaching Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the Milwaukee Bucks as an assistant coach way back in the day. This man won the Coach of the Year in the NBA in 1978, and then he won it again 25 years later in 2004, coaching for the Memphis Grizzlies. There's a lot of interesting things about Hubie, and the reason why I want to celebrate him so much is really he is like one of the biggest influential people on me personally as why I look at the basketball game the way I look at the basketball game. That as a kid, I can remember watching CBS NBA games with him and Vern Lundquist and Dick Stockton, and their voices are in my head still to this day. Such great delivery and great voices, and then just the intelligence, the philosophy, the astuteness of Hubie Brown and what he would say. In fact, I want to read some Hubie Brown quotes right now for you guys real quick to celebrate the mind of Hubie Brown and why he is so important to basketball. And what he has to say is amazing. All right, these are just random clips that Hubie has said over the years, and you can get an idea of what he's all about. If you don't know about Hubie Brown, I know most of y'all do, definitely go check out some clips of him talking and saying things that what he says, because he's very smart and he knows his basketball. Number one is the cardinal rule of playoff basketball: can you take care of your defensive board? How many times have I said defensive boards is the end of the possession? This is where this comes from. When I say stuff like that, it's because Hubie taught me this when I was still in elementary school, y'all. The test of coaching: can you get your best three players high percentage shots in their best areas against any defense? This is amazing stuff. When you play at a slow pace, you must shoot at a high percentage. When front court guys get switches, they must force players to their weak hand. The teams that win championships have three great players. This is just all Hubieisms. This is just a long line of Hubieisms. Here, let me keep going with them. That potential kills you, maybe not during the season, but during a 7-game series. College level can hide two players that can't defend. NBA can only hide one. And currently, that's amazing. January and February in the NBA are dog days. This is where you're never an underdog if you're a team with potential. Emerging teams can steal games because top teams are not paying attention. See, he's just so smart. And he just really, really understands basketball, how to play it correctly, do the right things. Here's some more. High school and college coaches win all games and players lose games. NBA players win every game. Coaches lose every game. Wow, that's a deep one right there. He's saying that in high school and college, the coaches win all the games and the players lose games. And then in the NBA, the players win every game, and the coach loses every game. Against good team defense, you must have a good transition game. They may be good defensively in the half court, so you must take advantage of mismatches in transition, force turnovers, get out, and run. Oh, my gosh. I might read some more of those quotes later on in the stream, but you get the gist of just the really smart intelligence of Hubie Brown. Oh, man, people that understand Hubie Brown and are like me, disciples of what he said and taught as far as what the game is, are the people that are upset with the game right now, because they understand what the game used to be and what it mattered, why it mattered back then. Oh, man, we love you, Hubie. Let's share the love club. Hubie Brown. If y'all like Hubie and you have experiences watching Hubie and favorite Hubie things, let me know in the chat today, because we're definitely celebrating 90-year-old Hubie Brown, who's about to go on his victory tour, his final farewell tour around the NBA. I hope each team he gets to maybe visit. He probably won't get to come to Toronto, unfortunately, but I hope he gets a good send-off, especially in the markets where he was important, like Memphis, New York, places like that. He needs to get a shine and a farewell, at least in those two cities out of all the cities here in the NBA, those two in particular, for sure. Yeah. All right. Let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. There are some things that happened last night we got to talk about. Dana is here first. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Canadian Dana. I hope you're having a nice Saturday morning. It's a nice, sunshiny, pleasant day in Toronto right now. Ahmed is here. Good to see Ahmed, the GOAT Gaming. Ahmed was in Scottie Barnes' Twitch chat earlier this week, and well, he went on again last night. Oh my gosh. Ahmed saying, good morning, y'all. Are y'all excited for the fantasy draft tomorrow? Because I sure am. I love this. Ahmed's showing enthusiasm about the draft tomorrow. I am too. At this time, 24 hours from now, we will be drafting almost. We'll be getting ready, and I'm excited. The schedule for the next couple of days on this channel is fun. Tomorrow, we're going to do our Raptorsfreak fantasy draft, Yahoo fantasy draft. And then on Monday, they've released the schedule for Media Day. Media Day is on Monday morning, and it will start around 9 o'clock. I'm going to go on an hour early and start at 8:30 a.m. on Monday morning in my stream. And I'm going to live react to the whole day of Media Day. In fact, I won't do a normal stream. In fact, I may not. It's going to be a weird situation. It's the kind of thing where I'm going to want y'all to watch the stream of the media also at the same time as me. Because obviously, I'm not going to talk over the Media Day guys. I'm not going to talk over the interviews. I have the schedule of who's in what order. And what we'll do is basically we'll listen to them. And when they're not talking, I may start talking then. So that stream may be a little weird because you won't be able to hear them through my stream. But if you have my stream and watching them at the same time, it should all work out. So we're going to try that on Monday. And not only that, it's going to be a long, long one. And now in between, when they come out for interviews, I'll be definitely talking a lot then. But when the guys are actually answering interview questions, I'll be shut up. And you'll have to sit here with me, just kind of sitting here, and we'll listen to them. And when they're done talking or there's a pause, maybe I'll say little comments, or maybe I'll have little gut reactions to what they say. And you can see me have my reaction to them live while they're doing Media Day on Monday. So that's the schedule for the next couple of days. The draft tomorrow and Media Days on Monday, y'all. And I'm going to go over the schedule of Media Day and who's coming, who's interviewing at what time very soon. Ahmed, thank you. And Ahmed, Scottie went back to Twitch last night for 2 more hours. He was on around 8 o'clock till about 10 or so, 10:30. And very interesting stuff happening on that stream last night with Scottie. We'll talk more about it in a sec. Trevor J saying, good morning, Raptors family. Happy Saturday. Good morning to you, Trevor J. Be careful how you speak and use your words. They can hurt or destroy people's lives. So use them for love, not hate. That's right. I've heard somebody say, like, if it's not worthwhile, if it's not kind, if it's not necessary, don't say it. And I think that's a really good mantra to kind of go by. Just because you could say it doesn't mean you need to say it. Just because you're right doesn't mean you need to say it still. Because in some ways, even though you're right and you say it, you can be very damaging and hurtful in weird ways. I appreciate your words of wisdom this morning, Trevor J. Thank you. Tom Duke saying, no matter how good you are at the top of your game, this is a Hubie quote. I love this. No matter how good you are at the top of your game, always remember that you're a half a step away from the street. That's a fantastic Hubie quote, Tom Duke. I love that. Yeah, happy to hear after 27 years, Tupac's killer is charged. Wow, yeah, this was weird. This was so weird yesterday. I was like, is this like a real like news story? And I was like, holy crap, they caught him. I'll bet you what happened is this guy bragged about it a little too much. And he was probably like, I got away with it. He probably thought he's free and clear. He may have even thought the statute of limitations might have passed to help him. I think his name is Dwayne or something. But yeah, they picked somebody up in Vegas for the murder of Tupac in 1996. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing that they have somebody finally for this. And in some ways, it's a very beautiful thing because there's closure. And in some ways, there's justice for a murder that was in cold blood and just really, really bad for the world. Honestly, Tupac was more than just a rapper. He was an icon who stood for a lot of different things. And there's a lot of depth to him as a person that people may not understand. So, yeah, I'm really happy that they caught this dude or they're charging somebody finally for Tupac's murder. It's a big deal. It's a very big deal and really caught me off guard. It's just out of left field. Tom Duke saying good morning, and Tom saying thanks again, Lex, for being you. You know, Tom, you deserve credit for coming all the way here to Toronto and coming to an Indiana Pacers game last season from BC. I honestly, you're a real fan. And I wanted Scottie to know. That's why I wrote that into Twitch last night. So Scottie read a comment that I wrote to him on Twitch saying that Tom's a really, really diehard Raptor fan and that he's so committed. He came all the way from Victoria to Toronto to come to a game last year. And he read the comment and he was like, Tommy Dookie, Tommy Dookie. Yeah, it's so awesome. I love getting Scottie Barnes to recognize Raptor freaks because, that's the thing. I'll promote you guys. I'll barely talk about my channel when I go in there. I will at times, though, maybe once every time. But I love promoting you guys in there also. And Tommy, you get your kudos. And also, yeah, man, Isaac Campbell, you are the man, too. In some ways, Isaac Campbell is like Paul Revere yelling, the British are coming. British are coming. The British are coming. In that way back in American history, that's what Isaac's done twice this week. He's been basically raising the alarm when Scottie goes on Twitch, and he's getting him right when he goes on. So I'm not missing hardly anything. I really do appreciate that, Isaac. That's so huge because in some ways I don't have my emails on notification, so they don't buzz me like they buzz you apparently. And yeah, getting in there and getting to see what Scott has to say is very important. In fact, it was once again just beautiful. Family environment. They're playing 2K. They're having fun. We're talking in the chat. Erica plays is spamming. I want a jersey sign, Scottie. I want a jersey sign. A bunch of Leaf fans come in last night. One guy named Marner. He's like talking all this trash. Marner MVP saying, Scottie, do you like the Leafs? Yeah, did you watch the Leafs in the playoffs? Just fucking asking all these Leaf questions to him. And Leaf Nation was acting out of pocket in Scottie's Twitch last night. They really were. They were bullying this girl, Erica, who's a regular. She's a subscriber to this channel. Thank you, Erica, for subscribing. Erica Plays is a Raptor freak, and we love her. And just because she was asking Scott for a jersey sign, these guys took the ball and started copying and pasting and spamming her message over and over again. And they were really bullying her. It wasn't nice. And at some point, the mods messed this Leaf Nation little contingency up. And I was like, what is Leaf Nation doing in here anyway with their crazy bullshit? They started trying to talk down the Raptors compared to the Leafs. And I said, motherfucker, no. I said one thing to them, and it got them to shut up. I said, the Toronto Raptors are the most valuable sports franchise in Canada currently right now. So you go on. And he said, well, if we win the Stanley Cup, that'll change right away. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's actually true. Even if y'all win the Stanley Cup, that doesn't mean y'all will be the most valuable sports franchise in Canada. So yeah, it was weird. We weren't really fighting with Scottie trolls last night. We were fighting with Leafs Nation, just being overbearing, immature, and stupid in there. Very annoying. Very, very annoying. And Erica, if you watch this, we got your back. And fuck those guys is what I'll say. Yeah. Yeah. And then Scottie, this is the meat of the amazing thing that happened last night. I brought up to him because listen, I've been watching him this summer on Instagram and he's doing crazy dunks at places. Like he did a windmill dunk this summer that was so beautiful. He's practicing. He even did the Vince Carter through the leg dunk. And I'm like, man, he should do the dunk contest is what it struck me this summer. Well, I asked him to do it directly to him last night. And he said, I might do it, Raptorsfreak. He said that last night. Seriously, I think he's strongly considering doing the dunk contest this year. And he, in fact, said this. This is what he said. I'll go the dunk contest this year, and I'll do a Vince Carter tribute, and I'll do every single one of his dunks that he did when he won in Oakland. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, he could do that. It's not like any of those Carter dunks he's not athletically capable enough to pull off. Somebody in the chat saying, well, he's not really a dunk guy. Why would he do that? And I was like, man, this dude could do this and he could win it. Trust me. He's got the charisma, the smile. He's got the energy around him. He's already got some very diehard fans that'll go crazy over it. And he will win. Trust me. If he goes to the dunk contest, it's not going to be an embarrassment for him. He will kick ass and he will throw it down. So I honestly think that Scott is actually seriously considering doing the slam dunk competition this year, guys, because straight from his mouth. Once again, I'm not getting hearsay. I'm not getting a report and maybe making a bullshit on Raptors Digest or whatever channel like we talked about yesterday. We heard it straight from Scottie's mouth last night. that he's very strongly considering doing the dunk contest. Now, don't get your hopes up for sure. There's no confirmation. And obviously, a lot of things can happen before then. But he is considering it. Let's just put it that way. That's a big deal. Seriously, that's a big deal. Cowboys here. Good morning, Lex and the Raptor Freaks. Bam. Good to see you, Bradley. Always good to see Bradley. Kareem is here. Good to see Kareem Thomas also. Hubie Brown is a real one. His commentary always begins with, you see, that this is the problem with today's NBA. I love him so much, Kareem. I love him so much. In fact, I thought he had retired a few years ago. You know, I've been back in Canada for 10 years. And of course, we don't get Hubie up here. In fact, I wondered how much a Canadian audience really is familiar with Hubie Brown. But y'all are. You know who he is. You, us old heads like Kareem and NBA Chev, and a lot of us that watch this channel have been watching the NBA for a long time. We're familiar with Hubie Brown. It's obvious. Tom and Kareem are quoting him. So, you know, I didn't see him for a while because it's all Matt and Jack and, you know, our crew up here for the most part. And I was like, he had to have retired. But then in recent years, I realized he is actually still doing games in the States. He was still going and doing ABC games with Mike Tirico and stuff like that. And I'm like, holy crap, he's still doing games. Like, I thought, first of all, I wasn't even sure if he was alive still. You know, it's an amazing phenomenon that this man's worked right up until he's 90 this week. This man turned 90 this week, and he will be he'll be commentating this year for games this year. He's a treasure, man. He's an absolute treasure. Omari saying Hubie's an OG. That's right. Omari Parsons recognizes the greatness and longevity of Hubie Brown. I love it. I love it. Isaac Campbell's got Grady Dick on blast with Hubie. It looks like we got Hubie in the chat as an emote today. Thank you, Tom Duke, for your work with the emotes. Very fun stuff. I love seeing Hubie there. And, of course, Grady. Cool Grady with the glasses. He's the awesome. Yeah, and he's got Hubie as a GOAT there. I won't disagree with you. I believe he's a GOAT too. Now, why is my phone? Get off there. Yeah, hang up. Turn that off. The phone is on. I don't know why. Somebody trying to call me in the middle of my stream. All right, let's see. Stargate saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freak family. Need some positive, intelligent, sensible Raptors talk this morning after Chev's X Spaces last night. Chev was on Spaces last night. And it got out of hand. Was it Chev himself or was it other people being crazy and saying stupid shit? Yeah, Spaces can be a little bit of a dangerous space at times also. I've listened to those sometimes because Kareem was telling me about it. And so I want to go check out the format. But I haven't gone on a space yet myself. But they're very interesting. I know Cool Cat's all about them too. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, you came to the right place. We'll get you your prescription very soon. Thank you for coming to the pharmacy. Yeah, I'll take care of this for you. We got some intelligent, sensible Raptors talk for you now. All right, we'll get that. All right, let me see what Cool Cat's saying this morning. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Hubie Brown taught the basketball fundamentals and IQ. Also, professionalism was the standard. Yeah, yes, Cool Cat. We love you so much, Cool Cat. That's right. And on that note, I'm going to read some more quotes by Hubie Brown real quick. If a man leaves to double, attack the glass. These are just basic, fundamental, awesome coaching strategies. You must maximize every possession 5 minutes down. Oh, man, so good. Kid, remember one thing. Take everything that you like from what you've learned from me, but make sure you take the things you don't like and make it better when you put it in your system. Oh, man, there you go. In an NBA season, there are probably 3 or 4 games you walk away, accept what happened, and move on to the next game. That's for sure. Whenever there are hardships, teams play their best. The notoriety of a coach is directly proportional to his team's execution under pressure. That's interesting. We'll see that with Darko this year. Hopefully his notoriety is high. 35 deflections, shoot 39% or greater. 95% of the time you win. There you go. 35 deflections, shoot 39% or greater. That sounds like a Nick Nurse strategy right there. Basketball is all about getting your key guys in comfortable areas where they can execute. I hope that's a lot of what we do this year with the Raptors. Stop telling me that you got them open. You got a good shot. Guy hasn't made a shot from there in about 5 years. That's just an out of context quote. I love that. And then when was the last time you blocked a 3-point field goal attempt? Well, ask Chris Boucher that. He can answer that one for you. Yeah, it's awesome. So good to celebrate Hubie today. Cowboys got Hubie on blast, and Mo and I love it. Cool Cat saying, Lex, you see the interview lineup for Monday? Masai, Darko, Pascal, Scottie. The order says a lot. Yeah, let's go analyze this real quick. Cool Cats alluded to this. Samson Folk posting on Twitter last night the media day schedule for Monday. Media day is Monday, bright and early. First thing on Monday, we can get started with our Raptor season. You know, this is when we start it, is media day. And 9 a.m., Masai Ujiri will be coming out there to talk right first thing at 9 a.m. So I think what I'll do is I'll start my stream at 8:45, do a 15-minute lead up, and we'll just be ready for the press conferences as they start. Darko Rajakovic will be on at 9:30 when I'm normally on. Pascal at 10 a.m. Scottie Barnes, 10:30. 10:45, Dennis Schroeder. 11:30, Gary Trent Jr. 11:45, OG Anunoby. And then at 12:25, they'll have Jakob Poeltl. So it looks like I might be on from like 8:45 till about 1 o'clock on Monday, y'all. So get ready of a marathon live reaction stream for the Raptorsfreak watching media day. We can watch it together, and keep your volume up on the media day, and I'll just make little peanut gallery comments during it. So it'll be fun. It'll be interesting to do that format in a way. There may be some awkward, weird watching it back where I'm kind of like just paused and hanging out. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, the order does say a lot. Cool Cat, I'll agree. It's kind of a little bit of a pecking order in some ways. And it's interesting where Dennis is. In some ways you can't really read totally into that either. There's a lot of debate about who's going to be the starter between Dennis and Gary right now. People on Scottie's Twitch thinking Dennis is probably going to be Gary that will be the starter. A lot of them on there were saying they think Gary should start. And I'm like, I want to kind of interject and say Dennis should be starting. Dennis should probably be starting. Monique is here. Let's see what Mo's saying. Good morning, everyone. 90 and still calling games. Wow. I know. Mo, isn't he amazing? He's absolutely amazing. In some ways, he's been like looking like 90 since the 80s. Seriously, when I was a little kid, I thought he was like 80 years old already. And he wasn't. He was like 40. It's so crazy. I really thought he was like super, super old when I was a kid. It's like this weird thing where you think like people in their late 30s or early 40s are super old when you're little, and they're not really. And then you get older and they're still old. And you're like, wow. Like, I thought you were like ancient when you were like when I was a kid. And you're like, no, they were younger then. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. We love you and bless you, Hubie Brown, and everything you've done in your life and continue to do. I want to celebrate him so much this year. Kareem saying at Stargate, I was on Chev's space for about 1 minute and then tuned out. Chev is more an optimist, but people who join his spaces are filled with pessimistic idiots. Yeah, that's something he can't control. He's going to have all kinds of fans, and some of them will be crazy. And that's just what's happening. We were getting in arguments with Twitch people last night in Scottie's room too. These idiots were coming in trying to say this stuff like, oh, the Raptors have no direction. They were starting to say that. And I was literally typing in the comments, motherfucker, you don't see the direction sitting right in front of you on the screen right now? Seriously? You can't see the direction of this team sitting in this chair in front of us playing video games right now in front of us? That's literally what I wrote to them in the comments yesterday. Tom and I were fighting the good fight in Scottie's Twitch stream. This is what we do. We hold up the honor of the Raptors in there amongst any kind of weird shit. Other players, other teams from other fans from other teams come in there, start soliciting. So you should come play for us in New York, Scottie. We shoot them down. We shut them up. And it was funny. Scottie did a lot of interesting things last night. He was picking who he thinks is the best teams in the West. He was going over it. He's very high on the Grizzlies. He likes Nuggets, of course. They're the champs. He's big on Phoenix, of course. It's weird. They were talking about the Lakers. His buddies think the Lakers are really good, but Scott was kind of about the Lakers. And then Clippers, they were really arguing about the Clippers, about where they really are with stuff. But it's very cool to hear Scottie kind of name his 8 Western Conference playoff teams that he thinks are going to make it this year. And they wouldn't touch the Eastern stuff. In fact, every time there's a question about Eastern stuff, they really very much just answer Toronto. It's like, who's going to win the East? And Nick immediately said, and Nick is Scottie's handler, kind of his manager kind of guy. He says, Toronto's going to win the East. He just said it real quick. Because he knows he don't want no dumpster fire for Scott getting on his Twitch and saying something weird about another Eastern Conference opponent. No. So they didn't even let Scott really answer the Eastern Conference questions. He answered the Western Conference questions, ordering his playoff teams. And then we filled in the ones for the East ourselves. But yeah, he said Nick was funny. He was like MVP, Pascal Siakam, sixth man of the year, Gary Trent Jr. He's going through and basically doing the awards like we would on this channel. He's giving them all the Raptors. Rookie of the year, Grady Dick. He went through the whole thing. He's like, this is what our predictions are officially on Scottie Barnes Twitch. Yeah, it's all Raptors in the East, baby. That's right. Scott really did reiterate last night that he has been working like crazy this summer. He said that he's really, like, in some ways, he's never worked so hard, and he's really feeling confident about this year, guys. He really does understand and feel like he's made a leap with his game. What we saw at Rico Hines runs is not like a flash in the pan. This isn't like a temporary, just like, oh, this is Rico Hines runs. Scotty's looking dominant. This is him coming in. He's going to look like this in the NBA a little bit more. And part of it is that he grew up and he understands he has weight he can throw around and be more powerful in the league. So he's telling us straight up, I worked on my shot. I worked on my endurance. I worked on my skills, and I'm better, guys. I'm better than I was last year. And I believe him, and I'm ready to see it. I'm so ready to see it. It's going to be so amazing. Such a fun time on Scotty's Twitch last night, and he loves being on with us. Honestly, he felt more comfortable last night. I could tell. You know, there's a lot of stupid shit being said in spaces and Scottie Barnes Twitch chat. He was getting mad at them bullying Erica at one point. He's like, man, y'all are really being too mean at this point. And the mods went crazy and they kicked Leaf Nation out for a sec. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was a good time on there. Great to be on there with Isaac and Tom and the rest of the crew that's always there. Very, very much fun last night. Let's see. Monique is saying, bring on Media Day, and congratulations to Daryl Morsel. Well, congratulations. And then it kind of went real quick for him yesterday. It was really weird what happened. The Raptors, as we reported yesterday, waived David O'Banner and then brought him back on to the 905, the regular thing. He's off the Exhibit 10 and he put on the 905. Well, Morsel got put on the Exhibit 10 after that, and he got waived 6 hours later. So Monique, this is the weird thing. Morsel is not on the 21-man roster at this point, and neither is O'Banner. So we actually have an open roster spot all of a sudden for our training camp. This is very, very interesting. There could be a name that's added to our team in the next little bit. I don't know how much money they have to spend or what kind of thing. I wish Logical Raptors Fanatic was around to kind of help me with this information. Because there is an opportunity for them to still add someone to this training camp roster now that both Morsel and O'Banner have been waived and they're just going to 905. That's just what they're doing. So Daryl is not actually on the training camp roster anymore. He was put on it for a second and he was waived later, 6 hours later, and he's in the same position as O'Banner now. So there is a spot that's open right there next to Mogi at the end of the training camp roster. So very, very interesting stuff. G saying, I love that Darko is going to use Jakob in a Gasol role. It's brilliant. It will change the entire look and feel just by adjustment. Yeah, I mean, Nick did a little bit of this with Jakob when he came back after the trade deadline, but really just scratched the surface and didn't really have a whole lot of time to institute systems that really like relied on that or were based around that, because he had already established our offense for the season. And changing it that late in the season after the All-Star break is tough, because you're already trying to get like just wins. You're in a bad place. You're kind of paddling water because you're in trouble with the season already. So trying to install that last year for Nick when Jakob arrived back was not realistic. Well, you come into training camp, you know that he's on your team. You make your new playbook with him in mind because you know he's a known person on your team. It could be a lot more fruitful using him at the high post hub as a passer. You know, the things that people are describing is basically Scottie can be the point guard, throws it to Jakob. Jakob stands there at the top like Gasol, and he may throw it right back to Scottie, and Scottie attacks, or he throws it to somebody else and they make a layup. You know, there's going to be a lot of that kind of stuff where there may be kind of a passer passes to Jakob. Jakob stands there, passes it right back, and then they find something that way, kind of bouncing back and forth off Jakob in the middle as kind of like a tower hub. So, yeah, I'm excited about this too. And I think that it's going to be very fruitful. And the acumen and unselfishness of Jakob in Darko's system is going to be very powerful. Watch. It's going to be very powerful. If he can get things out of him like he got out of Steven Adams, him and Tyler Jenkins in Memphis, we're going to be okay this year. We're going to be okay this year. That's how I feel about it. MSJ saying, I always liked Hubie. He loved the game so much. Keep going to the very end. Basketball legend, and always loved his behind the back passes. His behind the back passes. You're talking about when he used to play way back. You're not getting him confused with Pistol Pete Maravich, are you? Because he looks a little bit like Pistol Pete, but he's not Pistol Pete. Hubie did play basketball for a very brief time, and he wasn't not very long. He didn't even play in the NBA. He played for the Rochester Colonels, which was an ABA team, which was actually the other league, or what was the Eastern Professional Basketball League. It was the front runner to the CBA. So it wasn't even the ABA, the Rochester Colonels. And he only played one season. He very, very much was coaching more than he was playing. And then he started in high school, coaching high schools in the 60s. And then all of a sudden he was coaching in university. And then all of a sudden he was an assistant at Duke University by the 70s. So, and then an assistant coach for the Milwaukee Bucks. And he was an assistant coach on their championship team with Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So he has a pedigree to him. Hubie Brown, of all kinds of cool stuff. And of course, he coached in the NBA later, Atlanta Hawks, New York Knicks, Memphis Grizzlies. So yeah, Hubie's had a really cool career. Now, his playing career, not that great. His coaching career, not that great on paper, but everybody knows Hubie Brown's coaching genius, and there are tons of disciples of him. All kinds of people that come from the coaching, not the coaching tree, but the coaching brain of Hubie Brown. We know that our assistant last year, Earl Watson, is a disciple of his. He got to work next to Hubie in Memphis in the early 2000s, and he really became a direct disciple of Hubie Brown from working with him. So Earl Watson is a huge proponent of Hubie Brown. He talked about him at the coaches open house last year very glowingly. Like, you can tell Hubie Brown may be the most influential person on Earl Watson in basketball in some ways. So, it's very cool how Hubie Brown in some ways has touched the Raptors in recent years because of his influence on Earl Watson. And I'll bet you money he's a huge influence on Nick Nurse also. That Nick Nurse is somebody that he's very much likes what Hubie has to say too, and studied him very closely. So yeah, he's awesome. Cool Cat saying some of those Leaf Nation fans are proving points made in spaces last night. We know some feel threatened by basketball. They definitely do. These guys were they were crazy. They were Raptor fans too, and they were kind of being respectful, but they were also very cocky and yelling, and they were over spamming, and they really acted like they were 9 or 10 years old. I told them, I was like, why is Leaf Nation in here acting like they're in kindergarten? Seriously, because they were acting really immature, very, very immature. They made them look bad is basically what it was. And there were 3 of them. It's like they all came in as a gang, and I guess they were all buddies. I don't know what was going on there. But Stargate saying Hubie is one of our great basketball minds and deserves his flowers. That's right. I like this because even earlier this week we said, don't wait for somebody to die to eulogize them. And this is the perfect example. We all love Hubie Brown. He's 90 years old, and we don't need to wait till he's dead to celebrate him and put him on blast and love him so much. Let's do it while he still can see it all and receive all that love and really feel it. That's what they say. Give people their flowers before they're gone. Well, that's what we're doing today. And I want everybody in the NBA to do this to him all season long. The man deserves it for this amazing, long, long career that he's had. He definitely deserves it. I love it. Let's give him his flowers. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. MSJ saying Leafs versus Raptors, false, fake, contrived, who cares, stupid, designed for losers, perhaps even racist feud ever. Anyone involved, please seek help. One can like both sports. Imagine that. Now, I'm involved in this, and I can tell you why, Chris, because I'm on the ground floor of the Raptors. When they opened the Air Canada Center, I was working there, and I saw how much Leaf people really don't like the Raptors. So I drew a line, and I am guilty of this. I hate the Leafs. In some ways, I hate the Leafs because of the bullshit that they did to the Raptors, or Leafs Nation has done to the Raptors. I've gone to the point where I don't hate the Leafs anymore. It was especially since our championship and things have been better. But when I was feeling like they were holding us back, I had a resentment towards them. In fact, to the point where I disown them as my favorite NHL team, and I've become Winnipeg Jets Nation. In some ways they piss me off that bad with their cockiness and immaturity and just like having to be better. In some ways, Leaf Nation is just like USA and Canada. Leaf Nation is the USA. I'm better than you. You're not equal to me. It's this dynamic we talked about this week where Americans just think I'm better than all Europeans. I'm better than all Asians. I'm better than all people around the world. We're just the best. And, in some ways, Leaf Nation is like that in Toronto, like Americans are about in that dynamic. So I get what you're saying. You could call the whole dynamic stupid, but I have real practical reasons for why I've been anti-Leafs in the last couple decades. It's not that I'm anti-Leafs right now. I want them to win. I want them to do well. I think it would be good for the city in some ways, but in some ways I'm also like, I don't want them to win because people like who was on Scottie Barnes Twitch last night will get more empowered and be even more annoying. So there's trade-offs to this. I want Toronto to be successful, have good things happen to it, but also I don't want these people to get so out of pocket that they're really fucking annoying. I don't root for the Leafs in everyday games. I really don't. They get the playoffs, I'll root for them then. I root for the Jets on an everyday basis. That is my team. Yeah. There is racism involved in the Leafs versus Raptors for sure. And most of that racism is coming from the Leaf side. Cool Cat saying, Lex, in Spaces last night, you and Chev were given kudos as positive Raptors YouTubers. Chev knows you too. Awesome. I love that. Well, Chev, respect and love. We're birds of a feather. We flock together. We were from Tallahassee in a way. I'm from not directly from Tallahassee, and you're not either, but we have Tallahassee ties. I appreciate that I was brought up in that space. And if you guys were part of the bringing it up or saying it, I appreciate that. If more people can find my channel and help be more positive in their life, that would be good. Trust me, we need more positivity in this world. There's so much negativity and trying to make people feel bad and gaslighting in weird ways by the media that, and if there's some sort of grassroots media like Chev and I that can help y'all have some entertainment and feel better, I'm all about filling that role. I appreciate that, Cool Cat, and thanks for letting me know and respect NBA Chev. And man, listen, I'm a huge fan. Seriously. Tom Duke saying G was right on yesterday's stream. Breaking news, the good news for Josh Primo. Yeah, let's talk about this today. The reason why they announced that Josh Primo was going to get a 4-game suspension for his conduct with the therapist is because he is coming back to the league. Now, he's not coming back fully. He's a two-way. He's been signed as a two-way with the LA Clippers. So he's going to be playing on the Clippers two-way contract this season. I knew he would. When I saw him at Rico Runs, he was actually looking, his body looks really good. Like he's been working the whole time he's been exiled from the league. So, and the other thing that's interesting about this is the Clippers signed him and he was actually running with the Clippers squad already at Rico Hines Runs. Now, Jimmy Butler, you going to get on Instagram and call that tampering? Because it seems like another one of these Steve Ballmers. I'm a little ahead of myself in getting people involved when they're not officially on contract or involved yet. I don't know if you guys want to get Steve Ballmer in trouble with this. I don't want to get Josh Primo in trouble with this, but I want to get the Clippers in trouble for this. If they did indeed tamper and have him already playing with Clippers players at Rico Hines Runs somehow organized that way, what is that? Seriously, what is that? That seems like a weird situation. Maybe there's no wrongdoing in that situation, but why was Josh Primo already playing with Clippers players at Rico Hines Runs like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before he actually got signed by the Clippers? Did they say, oh, come down there and play with the Clippers? We want to see how you look. And if you do well, we'll sign you to two-way. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe there is no tampering in this. But Steve Ballmer, the way you operate, you tamper, bro. You tamper. Now, talking about Hubie, there's an amazing account on Twitch, or on Twitter, I should say, called Hubie Talks Hoops. And if you guys aren't following it, if you're on X, you need to follow this account. It's hilarious. In fact, the reaction to Josh Primo getting signed to the team was a picture of Steve Ballmer grabbing two guys' crotches. And he's saying this is why they signed him. It's like all kinds of jokes about why Steve Ballmer signed Josh Primo, because he's hitting people in the dicks. He's like, oh, I love this guy. It's hilarious. Hubie Talks Hoops is the best Twitter account on Twitter right now. It just is. It's just so funny and on point. He had one where he had Hubie. He has Hubie in different pictures, and it's a guy acting like he's Hubie, and he talks in the way that Hubie talks, right? Which is amazing. He says like all the same folky manner euphemisms and stuff like that. So he's like, one of them was Hubie's like, it'll be great for Josh Primo to go to Los Angeles and get the exposure. And then he's like, he shows one picture where he's like, oh, get the exposure. Oh, Hubie Talks Hoops. You're like gold standard Twitter. I'm telling you right now, gold standard Twitter. Forget about verifying these stupid ass accounts, Elon. Just verify that this is a funny account, Hubie Talks Hoops. Yeah. If you're going to be in that cesspool of Twitter, you might as well be following that account. Seriously, follow that account. Awesome. I wish Josh Primo all the best in getting therapy and getting his NBA career back. Yeah, I do. Let's see. Yeah, Tom Duke saying good luck to him too. Top of Tops here. Good to see you, Top. Hubie is one of the greatest ball minds of all time. I love his game commentary. I can't wait for Media Day. I can't wait either, Top of Top. It's going to be fun. In some ways, this is going to be the opportunity for people to get the questions answered about the team direction. I love it when Masai takes the microphone because in some ways, it's like y'all are ready to hear my truth bombs or like this is where we're at because he doesn't mess around. He gets up there. He's very honest and he's truthful and he tells us. So, Ahmed Mann, Samson Folk, Orrin Weisfeld, Doug Smith, Michael Grange, Josh Lewinberg, all y'all, ask those good questions. You'll get the answers. And Masai's going to sit there like a G, and he's going to tell y'all exactly what's going on. And y'all will feel like, oh, that's what's going on. Like, I hope y'all ask him, do you guys have a direction with your team? What are you doing? I want them to ask him that straight up. And then I want to see what Masai says to them when he puts them in their place. I'm really waiting for this. Because when I see Media Day, I find out my talking points that I can echo on this channel because I'm listening to the horse's mouth, not some bullshit artist who's writing a paper for Raptors, Rapture, or whatever the fuck stupid hack artist fucking site it is. I want to hear it straight from Scottie's mouth, like I was watching him on Twitch last night. I want to hear it straight from Gary Trent Jr.'s mouth, the very few words that he speaks in the Media Day. I want to hear it from Jakob. I want to hear it from Dennis. I want to hear it from Darko and Masai. That's right. Top of Top. Always love and respect, even if we don't agree. I always love and respect. Let's see. Wayne's got one. And MSJ saying at Tom Duke, yes, Primo got off easy for sure, but some team will get him. I wonder if Team Canada might as well. That's a tough one. Well, the Clippers, officially. Josh Primo is a Clipper as of yesterday. Yeah, I don't think he'll be on Team Canada. Yeah, I don't think that's likely. Not at all. Evelyn's here. Let's see how Evelyn's doing this morning. The greatest sin a coach can commit is to allow kids to slide by. Hubie Brown. Hello, Nick Nurse. Wow. Evelyn with a really amazing quote. And I'm going to give Evelyn a dunk for amazingness because this is actually a really awesome thing to quote here. Where is Evelyn on here? Evelyn, you have a dunk. I know you do. There's your dunks. I see them there. She's got 3. Yeah, listen, I love that quote. It's true. And she's referring to last season for Nick Nurse and the Raptors. Let it slide by, and something happened there. Great quote, Evelyn. I love that so much. Let's do some more Hubie quotes that I have on here real quick. 10 of you are going to love me. 3 of you are going to hate me. All of you are going to learn to be men of character and play in the NBA 10 plus years. I love that. That's Earl Watson actually quoting him on a podcast from back in the day. The greatest sin a coach can commit is to allow kids to slide by. That's the one she just read. X's and O's aren't worth a damn without a team. If your team isn't with you, it doesn't matter what you draw up. That was last year. That was last year for the Raptors right there. You have to make players comfortable, but more important, understand distribution of shots and also areas of where each guy is comfortable. I think this is a huge area where the Raptors could key on that. Like, we got to find out where these guys are actually comfortable and get to those spots. It didn't seem like they're going to comfortable spots last year. Number 25 is you must teach losing teams how to win and not worry about tough love. As you move along, not everyone stays on the train. See, this is cutthroat stuff. When 2 good teams play each other, the team that gets the most layups wins. That's awesome. I love that. The roll man is the rotation man's responsibility. What's missing in today's game? Feeding the post when there's a mismatch. Hello, that has gotten more and more true, even more so as time has gone on. If you get this game down to 8 or 10 at the end of this quarter, you're in business here. I know that sounds crazy, but that's coaches talk. Coaches never give up. Basketball is all about getting your key guys in comfortable areas where they can execute. He keeps saying that. And you're always a half step away from the street. recalling advice from his father. Amazing. The one right here I love. This kind of here. The role man is the rotation man's responsibility. Samson Folk is doing some interesting work. Once again, he's meticulous with watching plays from last season and really analyzing trends and things that are going on with our players. He's been very much over analyzing Scottie Barnes and every single play he did last season. And what he's looked at this week apparently is pick and rolls. Scottie running the pick and roll with different other Raptors. And what he found out, what he said on his tweet this week, I'm giving you full credit, Samson. I'll aggregate you, but I'm giving you full credit for sure, is that Christian Koloko is the best screen and roller on our team. He was very looking very closely. And this is the thing. Koloko is doing things fundamentally really well in the pick and roll. And that's basically, he's very much catching the very strong screen at the right time. But the thing that Samson's impressed about with Koloko the most is the way he rolls out of the pick and roll and attacks the rim and gets there quickly. He said that in some ways he's the best big man in the pick and roll for the Raptors, and that if he could just finish at the basket better with more strength, he's going to be overpowering in this way. Now, I agree with him. I saw the offensive potential for Koloko almost immediately. I don't care about the outside shot. I'm talking about near the basket with his length and just a little more strength. He can be dunking on people all over the place. And then the other thing about Koloko is he does have a little bit of baby hook shots and a little bit of touch. So he has a potential to not only be one of the best shot blockers in the league, but also to have a very solid offensive game that may be centered around pick and rolls, but also around just like going with high sky hooks over guys who just can't get anywhere near trying to block him. So I'm really excited about the potential of Koloko. We always talk about, well, he could do this, he can do that. Well, Samson's coming up with some interesting stuff from really going over our highlights and clips from last year. So you go, Samson Folk. Much love to you and your hard work doing real basketball journalism. That's what I'll say. Samson Folk is a real basketball journalist. A lot of these guys are pretending to be journalists, and they're just tabloid reporters. Aaron Rose. That's right. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, 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 bam. All right, let's see. Stargate saying, not Chev. Initially, in the beginning, me, Chev, and a few others had some great basketball discussion. But later on, some of these young guys came in, some non-Raptor fans, and just disrupt the whole vibe. Yeah, I hate that. This is the thing. The proclivity to downgrade the Raptors is because of the NBA media in the U.S. So a lot of the U.S. fans are just going to poo-poo us and put us down because that's the learned behavior from watching television, that they see them do it on TV. So they just are a natural extension of it in these kind of places. That's why the perception war is real, and it does hurt the Raptors. Because these people, that's why they don't value OG or Pascal, because they get downgraded on a regular basis down south in all kinds of ways. They think, this is the thing, they think we overvalue our players, but they completely undervalue all our players. So I don't know. It may be somewhere in the middle between where I overvalue them and y'all undervalue them. But I'm going to tell you for damn sure that people that go into those spaces and talk about the Raptors and stuff, they undervalue our players. They try and poo-poo who Scott is. They say, oh, Scottie's not that good. They make up all this propaganda about he's not one of the better rookies in his rookie class. They say all this stuff. They omit him. This is all part of this perception war. And this is what informs knuckleheads who come in the spaces with you and Chev and why they act the way they do. It's too bad that great conversation was marred by knuckleheads. I feel bad for you, Stargate, but hey, that's social media and being online. You're going to have knuckleheads. Knuckleheads come in here sometimes. That's how it is. Tom Duke saying MSJ, he's a Clipper. He has a 4-game suspension to serve, though. That's right. Top saying Morcell got waived a few hours after we signed him. Not sure what's going on there. That's because that's the normal circumstance to turn guys over to just being 905 for the season. It's a part of the process. We do it every year. It's just that it's such a little dumb thing that nobody ever makes a big deal out of it. We're so detailed here that we're going to go ahead and talk about this year that O'Banner and Morcell were both waived because they're just directly now 905. We haven't lost them. They are not going anywhere. They're just 905 players, and they don't have any chance to make the Raptors full roster in training camp. And it's good because, like I said, that opens up another spot. We have one spot open for training camp currently. because these guys have been waved to come through. To top saying Tupac stuff, I just don't believe. I think the actual killers have passed. Pac was on the verge of mega stardom. He really was. He really was already there. It's really stupid, that trade of BIG and him and the stupid East West wars. It was so dumb when that stuff happened. It was so dumb. I don't know. Listen, they wouldn't open this up and go arrest somebody. They get in big trouble for just arresting somebody frivolously. And I mean, they wouldn't do this if they didn't really have solid, good evidence that they know they can nail this guy. Because I really think about it, top. They're not going to open this case and get closure on this unless they found out something new that really nails this guy for sure for pulling the trigger. So I think they did get the guy, and it may be I want to know the details and how they figured out how this is the dude. Because why would they do this now? They have no reason. This is dead and gone. Nobody thinks about Tupac's murderers, but all of a sudden it's back in the news. No, they wouldn't do this unless the case really had a break and they really did figure out who did it. Because otherwise, they're not going to go around willy-nilly accusing people like 30 years later almost. No, they're not going to do that. Cool Cat saying Pascal and then Scottie shows the transition planning strategy. Yeah, so I mean, in some ways we can say there's a hierarchy to that. You could also say, because there's different time for how long they'll be up there. It's really interesting. Siakam gets a half hour and Scottie gets 15 minutes. They asked Scottie on the Twitch stream last night, are you excited about media day? And he was not. He was not. He was absolutely not. Somebody in there was like, are you excited for media day, Scottie? He's like, no, no, I'm not. He said this, though. He said, I'm excited for the season. And he said that the summer's been too long. He's been itching and waiting to get back on that court and show us all the hard work he did this summer, all the hard work he put in. He's ready to show us the fruits of his labor and show the leaps and the bounds he's made in his game. So, yeah, it was funny. He was like, I'm not excited. You could tell. He didn't say it outright, but they were like, are you excited about media day? He's like, no. He hates interviews, honestly. I even straight up asked him last night, Scottie, you should do Jake's takes. Just do Jake's takes. He's 13 years old. I know you know him. Why don't you do Jake's takes? But he doesn't like doing podcasts. He hates them for some reason. So I don't know if he'll ever do Jake's takes. But Jake, I was trying for you, man. I'm trying to get Scottie to do Jake's takes. I was like, dude, just do Jake. Jake's a kid. You like kids. Do his show. You won't do anybody else's. Just do it for Jake. Out of anyone. Come on, man. I was trying to help Jake so bad last night. It's hilarious. Let's see. MSJ saying, Clipper. Well, I hope he figures it out. Do you think he's good enough for Team Canada now? I know he was on the junior team a while back. I don't know if he's good enough or not. I think that Rowan Barrett Sr. might just steer clear of him. No reason to put him on the team. In some ways, you're representing the country of Canada. And if he has that kind of dark baggage, you don't even need to bring it there. There's so many good players for Canada. If we're not going to invite Chris Boucher, let's not invite Josh Primo. How about that? There's better NBA players that we could invite first, like Shaden Sharp and other people. Josh Primo should be pretty far down the list. And like I said, they don't want to bring him to the Olympics to represent us. Seriously, come on, let's be realistic. Cool Cat saying maturation of Scottie before our eyes. It's weird because it's a mix on Twitch now. It's like he's not the young kind of like naive Scottie that was the first summer of Twitch. And he hasn't been on for so long that it really is like he's changed as a person. He's a lot more savvy. He's a lot more on top of it. He's more mature for sure. He's definitely more mature. And I love it. But in some ways, he's still the kid in him too. At the same time, really, really cool stuff. He was listening to music last night. We're talking about who we're listening to and what music we like these days. And he was dancing. He was getting down. He was feeling good. He was dancing. Although I will say this, Scottie had a runny nose last night and it looked like he was a little sick. He was sniffling a lot and he had to blow his nose at one point. We're like, are you sick, Scott? And I was like, telling him, I was like, don't be like DeMar. Get a winter coat. You know you need that coat because it started getting colder in Canada. You're not in Palm Beach anymore. You can't do shorts and short sleeves in December. So, yeah, you're going to have to start wearing warmer clothes because it's going to get cold. And I don't want you getting no sickness. And if you're sick right now, that's fine. But you better be ready for next week. when we start training camp. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Tom Duke saying Canada are so deep. We're going to be stacked Olympic team. Jamal Murray, come on down. Andrew Wiggins, you feel like coming on down. You're the next contestants on Team Canada. Let's go get some medals in Paris. Yes, that's what I'm all about right there. Fiercely Saw Sarah saying, food morning, fam. A food morning. Good morning, family. Happy Saturday. Missed the Twitch session yesterday. Glad Scottie's back and at ease to engage with us. Yeah, this is the pattern. It kind of was every other day. He's been Wednesday and now Friday last night. Now, I hope it's maybe just a before the season thing. He's kind of in a in-between period where he's kind of in limbo with his time. And he may be just like, he is bored. And, in some ways, I'm like, he's like on Friday night last night, Friday night vibes. And in some ways, I'm glad he's in his house playing video games with his friends and hanging out with us online than, out in the clubs doing like what maybe a person around his age would be doing on a Friday night in Toronto. In some ways, he does not need that life. And he's very much said is like, I'm not going out in clubs kind of person. Now, if you see him out, it may be at a restaurant because he's eating dinner, but not because he's out to be at the club to be seen, pick up girls, party, drink, or any of that kind of stuff. That's not Scott's lifestyle. And you can tell because he's on Twitch at like 10:45 at night on a Friday night. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So I like his priorities. If he's not in the gym at OVO, if he's not doing Raptors related stuff, yeah, if he's on Twitch and he's not out, possibly having any issues, that's good. He said something very interesting last night also about music, that he has cut out kind of the drill ops kind of music that he was listening to last summer. It could very well be, in some ways, I don't know if the NBA has told guys that gun culture in the NBA is really bad because of Ja Morant's issues, and that they're kind of cautioning guys, like, we're going to have zero tolerance on linking guns to NBA players. And who knows, it could very well be that Scottie's kind of trying to change his influences. And some of those artists are very like, I'm a gunner, blam, blam, blam. I'm going to come down your street and shoot out the window, kind of like that's their songs. I think he's switching gears and his musical tastes are kind of moving away from there. It's kind of what he said last night. Very, very interesting. Let's see. Cool Cat saying a confident, improved trio of Pascal, OG, and Scottie is a winning formula. I agree with that. Fiercely, so glad to see you this morning too. Yeah, I agree with that. Pascal's on a new level of where he's at in his career. He's on a higher level of confidence than ever. OG's silent and coming in. And in some ways, I want to see him make jumps too. All these guys are working hard in the summer. I say this, and it's like, where's the direction? We're just mid. We're not going to get anywhere. Well, if like 5 of our guys are like better players than they were last year, doesn't that stack up to more wins somehow, some way? The people that say, oh, we're just going to be mid. And then once again, I want to remind people, the NBA is a parity league at this point. They've made it so that there's a lot more equality in the league. And there's not just like 2 or 3 teams that are absolutely juggernauts that are just going to super team over everybody. There's no team like that anymore. Is there any single one team right now that you can say is like the Golden State Warriors 6 years ago? You cannot. You cannot say that. You can't say that about the current champions. You can't say that about the Celtics. You can't say that about Milwaukee, even though they got Dame Lillard right now. There is a league that's wide open for everyone. So even if it seems like our roster's mid, our guys can develop and get better and bring us to new levels. And this is the thing that people aren't realizing. This is historically the way a lot of teams got better over time, is you develop and they get better and better and better. And that's how you get better as a team. Well, we're doing it the old school way. I'm sorry, youngsters. We're not microwaving our team to get it done fast. We're putting it in a slow roaster. And that's how you should cook it right for better flavor and texture and goodness. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there you go. Bam and bang, bang, bang. Tom Duke saying Scottie laughing and stating the teams are only 8-man rosters, really. That was funny, too. He did say that last night. Thanks for reminding me of that, Tom. Yeah, he was talking about, like, they were going over rosters, and I think they were talking about the Lakers in particular. And Scottie's kind of like, well, who do they have on the Lakers? And Nick and them were trying to name off the players to, like, prove a point. And then they started naming players near the end of the bench. And Scottie's like, well, they don't even matter. Only the top 8 players matter anyway. I mean, there's some truth to what he's saying, but I don't like that kind of mentality with him. You got to value everybody all the way down. And I know he does. Tom Duke saying, and then after media day, he will not be doing Twitch. He did say that. Pretty sure he answered that when asked about continuing stream. I in some ways I commend him. I don't really want him on Twitch all the time. I really should be a once in a blue moon thing to kind of come in and say hi and check in with us for a second. He should not be on there like 2 or 3 times a week going forward. If he's on there like once every 3 or 4 months, I'm happy. That's all I care about. If he doesn't come back until next summer or this time a year from now, I'm fine with that too. I really think the priority for him should be keeping vibes good, his head strong and right, and not causing any unnecessary dumpster fires while being online. There was another funny thing that happened last night. Of course, the Leaf guys were going crazy, and David Saborn, they have your heart. They were going after Joel Embiid in the chat like crazy for a while. They're like, F Embiid, he's a clown, he's a bozo, he's a fraudulent MVP. They're just going off. And Scottie got really mad at them at one point because, once again, he doesn't like people hating, even if it's Richard Jefferson, even if it's Joel Embiid and he stepped on his leg like that. He doesn't want us to hate on people. And he's like, why are you so mad at Joel? What did he do? He's saying it himself. He's like, I don't understand why y'all are so mad at him. Why are you so mad at Joel? And we're like, Scottie, because he hurt you. He's like, he's let it go. It doesn't even matter to him anymore. But us fans, we remember, and we're holding a grudge for him still. Because he was like, y'all need to stop. He's like, I'm not about this. And at one point, us, Tom and Isaac and I, were kind of saying, yeah, this is the share love space. We were sharing love here, just like we do today. Share love club for Hubie Brown. It's like you go on Scottie Barnes' Twitch. Don't be dissing other players in the league. Don't talk trash about them. He has not got no time for that negativity. He gets mad at us. Seriously, he set me straight last year when I was dissing Richard Jefferson in there. He's like, no, fam, don't put down anybody. We're lovers. We're here to promote love and positivity, and we're not here to talk about how we want Joel Embiid to die. Because there was a lot of that going on yesterday. It was comical to me, and they had my heart, just like they would have David Saborn's heart. But Scottie, they don't have Scottie's heart. He doesn't hate Joel like we do. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Let's see. Stargate saying it was more some non-Raptor fans who obviously don't watch Raptors who were saying the stuff. I'll bet it was them too. Let me hang on. It jumped ahead. I want to make sure I get everything you guys are saying today. It was more some non-Raptor fans who obviously don't watch Raptor games in any consistent capacity, believing they know the capabilities or lack thereof of our players. Kudos to Molly Ware, who she was defending the Raptors as best she could. She has a tolerance for listening to nonsensical verbal diarrhea that I don't have. I've seen Molly around on Twitter, and she's a great Raptors supporter, and I appreciate Molly too. Yeah, she's fighting a good fight, just like we would. I don't know if she knows about this channel, but you're definitely a Raptor freak, Molly, for fighting that good fight in there. Yeah, you can tell when somebody really doesn't know what they're talking about. Like that young mustard guy or whatever that was earlier this week talking about Siakam's game or Scottie's and breaking it down. Yeah, you can tell, especially when they don't know people. You don't know them. MSJ saying, no, not Pistol Pete, but as a coach, he taught the behind-the-back passes. Oh, okay. All right, okay. I didn't even realize that. Mo's asking, anyone wearing orange today? Well, I am wearing the orange, and this is because today is Truth and Reconciliation Day in Canada, and the Raptors organization is asking people to wear orange today. In fact, let's go talk about it real quick. We acknowledge the tragic history of residential schools where culture and freedom were stolen from Indigenous children and generations to follow, many of whom never made it home. Man, it's tough. We encourage our fans to join us in taking action towards truth and reconciliation by wearing your orange shirt today and visiting the link in our bio to learn more and find your call to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Act. Seriously, this is a big deal. In some ways, there's been injustices that our country should not be proud of or happy about in any kind of way. In some ways, we hid it and didn't shine a light on it. We tried to hide it, just like people in the South are trying to hide slavery issues and history in the American history by fighting against critical race theory. Well, this is the same kind of shit. We have an ugly past that we need to own up to. And when you actually go and do right by something you did wrong in the past, it heals. And that's what these people want. That's all they want is some healing from all of this, to be recognized and to be taken care of in certain ways for the opposite of what happened to them. Generational trauma is carried down. You could say the people that did this kind of stuff, a lot of them are dead and gone. The people that suffer from this are gone. That's not true, though. Residential schools existed up until very recently. And you'd be surprised how many people are still alive that are victims of the residential school phenomena. That's the thing. We should not be hiding our ugly past. Our government should not be hiring lawyers to fight against settling with this situation. We should be going right ahead and doing what's right in this situation and working with them for the truth and reconciliation. The truth is, we did awful things in the name of Christianity to the indigenous people on this continent. And reconciliation is making it right. And we're not doing that yet. In fact, I hate that the government of Canada wastes so much money on paying lawyers to tie this up in court, in arbitration, and holding it up, instead of just doing the right thing and spending that money instead on the lawyers towards doing the reconciliation. So that's where I stand on this. Government of Canada, we can do better. There's reports out that say that the Truth and Reconciliation Day is, and ideas of it is not working. It's not having an effect for the people that it should have an effect for. So we need to step it up and we need to do better. In some ways, I want to look in the mirror and say I'm proud of Canada. I'm proud of being Canadian. And when Canada Day comes around, I want to celebrate it for the good things about Canada, like a person like Mugabe Lemon, who came to this country and made a life here in the Canadian dream. But I know there's a dark side to Canada's history also that we need to face and deal with. Because once we do that, then we can move forward, everybody in some ways, and we can feel better about ourselves. I'm not proud of Canada for what we did in that situation. I had nothing to do with it. But there is something we could do to help the people that are victims of this still to this day. And they are still around. There you go. Thank you, Mo, for bringing that up. I was going to bring up the Truth and Reconciliation Day at some point, and I'm glad you got me to do it then. And yes, that is why I'm wearing orange today. That's right. Yeah. Stargate saying she was defending the Raptors as best she could. Oh, yeah, I read that earlier. G saying, I didn't realize Jalen was such a hang on. Where did your rest of your comment go? You're saying something about Jalen MacDaniels. I guess he had to go somewhere else. I don't know. You didn't realize Jalen was so tall? I think that's what G's about to say. I don't think you realized that he was so tall. In fact, Jalen MacDaniels is one of our top 4 tallest players on our team right now. I believe that's right. He is a legit 6'11", I think. So he's not a short dude. He's going to be very interesting, his combination of length and quickness this year. Jalen MacDaniels is going to be something, y'all. Stargate saying there is for sure an anti-basketball mentality among Leaf and hockey fans for a long, long time. F hockey. Yeah, I mean, and I get it. And then we're the counterbalance in some ways. And it's like, that's part of the reason why I'm kind of like, with hockey. I mean, I get the history with Canada. It's an important sport to this country. I want to respect that. But them being threatened by the Raptors and the basketball has made them act as like very out of pocket against us. And I don't like that. I do not like that. Basketball is a Canadian sport also, y'all. It really is. Dr. James T. Naismith, Canadian, invented basketball. That's right. Wayne Strainer saying Dave Feshik of the Toronto Star wrote a hit job on Masai yesterday. These guys have, with no sports resume, writing shit, had to subscribe to Retort, but I couldn't bother, saying we lost Lillard is stupid. See, that's why people get these dumb ideas, because mainstream hit artists like the Toronto Star are putting this shit out. Like, I've seen that name once before. Who gives a shit what that guy thinks? But people will read it and they'll buy into that shit. And then they'll be like, oh, because it was in the paper. It's something I should be echoing and stuff like that. Yeah, fuck you, Dave Feshik. Yeah, fuck you. Yeah, and fuck the Toronto Star and Doug Smith, too. Yeah. MSJ saying, I don't know. You should never feed the haters, aka some Leaf fans. They will come to hate you more if you do so. I think those Leaf fans are racist, as I've heard them talk about their hate of b-ball. In some ways, I've heard, like, back in the day, it was not as, people were more comfortable being racist out in the open. In some ways, like, white guys around me, they'll talk to me in a certain way where they wouldn't talk about things in a certain way around other people if they were. And there have been times in the years, way back, like maybe 20 years ago, I would talk to people around the Air Canada Center that worked at the Air Canada Center, and they'd be like, I just don't like basketball. And I'm like, why? Why do you not like basketball? And they don't have to fill in the blanks. And some of them would actually fill in the blanks. It's like it's all black guys playing. Some of them would actually say that. They're like, I want to watch a sport where it's people that look like me are playing. And that's why I like hockey. This was literally said to me by employees of MLSE that I worked with in the arena when I worked as a Mr. Sub Maker Other concession workers said this shit to me. I love working the Leaf nights like at old Maple Leaf Gardens, but I hate working the Raptor nights. The crowd isn't the same. It's different. It's weird. They would say shit like that. And I'm like, you know what? This is code. You're a fucking racist, is what I would take it as. And I thought that at the time. I wouldn't call this out to these people to their face, but I took notes and I realized, well, I am working with some racist people here that don't like basketball purely because it's a predominantly black sport. And that is really the crux of the hockey versus basketball in Canada. Rural white Canada is going to hate basketball to a degree because they like white hockey. And that's the damn truth. You don't want to listen to me and believe that? Well, you probably don't believe in critical race theory either. And there's a lot of truth to this. I saw it and heard it in my own two eyes with employees I worked with around 2020 years ago. So it's that easy right there. I get what you're saying. We shouldn't feed the haters, but listen, we need to be a counterbalance in a lot of different areas. And that's part of the reason why I'm the way I am. Whether it's Dave Feshik writing an out-of-pocket article in the Toronto Star, whether it's Stephen A. Smith saying stupid shit on ESPN down south. There needs to be a counterbalance. And if Leaf fans are going to be coming at us like that, well, we're going to say, well, we're not cool with that. And we'll call them out for that. If you have reasons for why you don't like it, my uncle once told me he doesn't like basketball because there's too much scoring. Like, what is going on with you? Like, seriously, you like sitting there just waiting around like for something to happen? Your hockey game could be 0-0 in the third period. You know, like what baseball. He really loves baseball, my uncle. Okay, you like sitting there watching guys scratch their crotch. Okay, all right, each flavor of their own, whatever. But that was the reason why he said he didn't like basketball, is because he said there's too many field goals, too many scoring points. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, that's your flavor. That's how you feel. All right, let's see. Nameless saying there's a reason hockey never took off in the States, really, because the game is ass. I mean, in some ways it's temperature. In some ways, like, look, I'm a Canadian, but I'm very not Canadian in some ways. I never played hockey. I grew up in Florida. There's no snow, no ice. I never learned how to ice skate even, guys. I don't know how to ice skate to this day. I mean, I could get on the skates and try and learn at this point, but what's the point? Some ways I wonder if I could have been a very good hockey player. I'm about 6'4". I'm very strong. I'm very quick on my feet. You get me on skates, I could have been like a very quick, strong person on the rink. So I don't know. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. My background's in Manitoba and Sweden and Estonia. I've got Scandinavian and prairie roots. Tell me I don't have hockey background to go play hockey. I just never got exposed to it because I was in Florida. And nobody plays hockey in Florida. They just don't. They really don't. Let's see. Your game is local, bro. A niche. Hockey equals golf. Yeah, in some ways, it is a niche. Basketball is a game that anybody can go play down the street right now. Right now. Cool Cat saying, I'm happy Primo is getting a chance, and I'm a female. The kid gets a second chance. I pray he's able to overcome his issues and succeed. You know what? In some ways, the most important thing in this whole thing is, first of all, we want the victims to be okay. And in some ways, I feel like if they're a therapist and they're very worldly and they know their things, they understand the whole situation. And they were probably very clinical about it. And it's like, look, this is bad. I feel bad for my client. And but maybe they are able to deal with the whole thing in a very mature way where it doesn't have a huge impact on them where they're victimized because they're aware of it, because they're a clinician themselves. So in some ways, not that the victim isn't important. They are important. But in some ways, the thing that's important is Josh beating his demons, is getting in there and figuring out what messed him up when he's so young, whether he was sexually abused or whatever happened to him to get him to this point where he's trying to flash people like that. So that's what we care about. And that's what Cool Cat's saying, was we want this young man to get help so that he understands his trauma and his abuse better, so that his behavior does not mimic this anymore. Yeah, basic training days here. That's not really true, Nameless. Hockey is actually huge in many parts of America, especially the border states. That is true. I will back up basic training. Minnesota is huge in hockey there. It really is a north-south thing. It really is, how cold do you get? Do you get snow? If you get snow, you probably do have a lot of hockey going on. The New England states have a lot of hockey going on there too. You know, you can kind of tell things by where the hockey players are from. You go look at all the birthplaces of where the hockey players are from, and you will see Americans in the NHL. Go look at where their hometowns are. Minnesota,
North Dakota, Washington, the New England states. That's usually right around there. So this is a fair statement by Basic Training Day. The thing is that hockey does not take in Florida or Arizona, though. People are very diehard about the Lightning. They really do get behind the Lightning. They love them because they win. And in some ways, I wonder if the Leafs have been held back partly because the NHL wants the Lightning to win. Because the Lightning win in Florida, that's good for hockey because that's an area where nobody plays hockey. So they want people in Tampa to be very up on their hockey team. This is another reason why none of the teams in Canada ever win, because the Canadian teams are all good. They have good followings. They have good things. So Gary Bettman and the NHL heads are all like, well, we need to give Stanley Cups to the Southern teams in the markets that were struggling. Does that make sense? I mean, seriously, why has there not been an NHL Stanley Cup champion in Canada since Montreal won it? When? Like, what, 15 years ago or something like that? That's probably why, what I just said. Cool Cat saying, do you think Hubie Brown's Twitter account is him, his team, or is it a parody account? It's a parody account. That is definitely not Hubie. I'm pretty sure Hubie has not ever gone near Twitter. That is definitely not him. It's somebody who does a very good job of writing in his voice. And I love it. I love it. That account is so awesome right now. So good. Randolph's here. Beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. Good morning. Today we join the fight for truth and reconciliation. That's right. There's ugly parts to history. It doesn't mean you shade them and put them away and don't tell them. In fact, this is part of how we grow as humanity and get better. The old playbook is horrible things in history. You try not to let them get passed on, especially if you're the person who did those horrible things. That's what they're trying to do in the States right now. We're trying to control teaching kids about the history of the United States and very awful situations they did. It's crazy that they want to whitewash over really important, huge events that shaped the United States and who they are and what they are. Like, the things like the kids going to school and like how the adults acted when they ended segregation and started allowing black children to go to the same school as white children and all the ugliness around them. They're trying to hide it. They're trying to hide it because in some of those pictures, some of those people are still alive, and their children, they don't want their children to see them. Is that you, Grandpa? And they're spitting at that little black girl trying to go to school? Yeah. Why did you do that? Why were you like that then? Like, what's wrong with you? Are you racist? It's these uncomfortable conversations that these old ass racists don't want to have by being put on blast for being racist. Basically, yeah. All right, let's keep going. G saying, now I believe that Rogers is paying some YouTubers and media heads the way they want to run the Raptors is the same way they run Rogers. Optimize money, then fire heads before promotions and keep profits. Yeah. Nah, Larry, live long and prosper and protect at all costs. Protect him at all costs, Larry Tannenbaum. Please. Wayne Strainer saying the narrative that we lost Durant and Lillard shows naivete at a vindictive level. You can't lose something that you never had. What about the Knicks, Sixers, Miami? Did they lose Durant and Lillard too? Exactly. That's why, in some ways, if you're a critical thinker, you can go and see exactly what Dave Feschuk is. A fucking mudslinger that has no basis for his gripe. Like, seriously, Wayne just plainly put it. How can you lose something that you never had? Dumbasses that are mad about the Lillard fallout going to Milwaukee or anything that had to do with Kevin Durant last year. That's why I'm like, look, if you're really smart and you can use logic, you can understand when somebody's bullshit artist, like Dave Feschuk in the Toronto Star. He's a bullshit artist, and you sound logic and critical thinking susses him out and exposes him. There, right there. MSJ saying, nameless, hockey is an excellent game, but some who play it or watch it are lost in the past. It's not the game. Highly skilled. You need a winter season, so it's limited. Problem is some of the fans. I in some ways, hockey's had a black eye in different ways for not really being that woke in different ways. The refusal to wear the pride jerseys last year really kind of shows a small town closed-minded mentality, and I get it. And now they're just going to ban them just to not even have to jump in this dumpster fire. I get it. There's still racial issues very heavily in hockey. There's still misogynist issues and very much in hockey. It's interesting to see female coaching hockey recently. at a high level. That was very cool and interesting. That shows some progress. But in some ways, that sport's a little behind on that. The NBA may be the most progressive with integrating women into the NBA. I don't know how many women are involved in MLB or NFL, but yeah, hockey's just now getting some female coaches around them. That's very interesting. That's what I'm talking about. It's about being progressive. It's about equality. And it's about not using gender roles to stereotype or exclude people from jobs or do things. That's patriarchy and that's misogyny. And that's part of what we're talking about here today. Yeah, we're talking about all kinds of social justice stuff because it's Truth and Reconciliation Day. That's right. There you go. There you go. Cool Cat saying, damn, can I take a sick day for Monday? I don't want to miss the live action. Cool Cat is trying to wonder this. I mean, I know you'll be at home. I don't know how much you can juggle. Can you juggle all three balls? Watching the media day, listen to me, and doing your work at the same time, Cool Cat? We'll see. I don't know. Do what you got to do. Maybe, I don't know how you got to deal with it. Maybe you brainstorm and you figure out something. But I wish you well in it. Fiercely saying, my Dallas Wings are swept by the Las Vegas Aces yesterday. I listened to some commentary, and the fact 3 of their players focused on volume shooting rather than sharing the ball throughout the series was the issue. That's interesting. Once again, team play will beat selfish, individualistic play. So let's hope the Raptors are more team oriented this year for sure. I feel bad for Dallas. Las Vegas is a team of destiny. They're obviously the finals that the WNBA is going to be very happy to have is New York versus Las Vegas. And that's probably what they're going to get. And that's what it looks like. So WNBA playoffs, fantastic. Highly encourage people to watch it. And their ratings and things have been going up. Now, it's interesting. They announced that Golden State is going to get that WNBA franchise. So of the 2 WNBA franchises that are coming, the Bay Area is definitely getting one of them. There was kind of already for sure that this was going to happen. It makes total sense. The Warriors are a good franchise, and that's a great area for them to have a WNBA team. So that's already been announced. One of the teams is taken, and then one of the new expansion teams is going to be Golden State. I hope that we're the other one, but there's no guarantees. It could be Memphis. It could be a couple other places other than us. But I'm telling y'all right now, you be stupid not to come to Toronto. You leave money on the table, WNBA, and you'd really help your league. I know that in some ways it's a headache to jump the border and come here and the different things that could happen with paying people and having a team here and all those different things. But I'll tell you right now, the fans here will make up for it with merchandise sales, ticket sales, and supporting the hell out of that team. So come to Canada. Do not be afraid to put a WNBA team in Toronto. Seriously, do it. Do it today. Excuse me. Evelyn's saying National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Wear your orange shirts. Hey, Mo, I'm going to wear my orange shirt. Yeah, I'm kind of wearing an orange sweater a little bit, but this was my most orange shirt right now that was clean. So I'm wearing this. Cowboy's saying, can't wait to see Koloko this year. Yeah, they're saying, this summer he had a respiratory issue, and that's why he didn't play at Summer League. But Samson Folk saying that he should be fine and ready to go for training camp this week. I was wondering why he wasn't playing at Rico Runs too. So maybe that respiratory issue was still going on a little bit. I don't know. We just want you as healthy and strong as possible, Koloko. If you're putting a weight bench and you're getting more muscle on there and you're stronger and you finish better, like Chris said, leave your feet and dunk on them fools, because you don't go up sheepish around the basket. They're going to be coming at you and hitting you. You need to be ready to get the hits and go up strong and just put it through the hoop. You got longer arms. You figure out how to hold the ball to protect it with your elbows, and you come up strong and throw it down is what I'm saying this year, Koloko. That's right. Top saying, I was very impressed by how Philly media grilled Nurse and shook him in his first interview there. I hope some of our media, cough, Doug Smith and Josh Lewinberg ask more hard-hitting questions. I expect them to. I don't know if it will be those guys, though. It's usually Grange. Grange is the worst one as far as those kind of questions. In fact, I get pissed off at Grange because in some ways he's coming in there trying to cause dumpster fires like the Philly reporters. That's the thing. Nick's got a whole new level of reporters you got to deal with. There's particular reporters in particular in the Philadelphia beat that are notoriously like really get on you. And they already gave him some of that in his introductory interview. As soon as he was hired by the Sixers, he did his interview and they came at him right away. So, yeah, that's going to be every time for him now. He's going to realize how he had softballs lobbed at him in Canada. And this season with the Philadelphia media is not going to be fun for him. That's going to be one of the things he's going to miss about Canada is our nicer press, maybe even a little more polite than the Philadelphia reporters. Yeah, will be hard-hitting questions. Some of them are already threatening to come in on Media Day on Monday to ask Masai the hard questions about the team's direction and not knowing what they're doing and all this stuff. So we hopefully will answer these questions so we can shut a lot of this stupid noise up when Masai says it directly from his mouth. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Give us the hard-hitting questions. We'll answer them. And then you will have your answers. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Stargate saying, I would like to see kind of like a Tyson Chandler type of player with his rolling ability. I could see that. They're very similar. Very, very long limbs. And quite great mobility for that length too. Yeah. Cool Cat saying the alleged Tupac killer kept saying he did murder Tupac for many years on interviews and books. Cool. That's interesting. I mean, I could see that. That's the thing. Your ego will get you in the end if you brag about it later. He may have thought he was clear because enough years passed. He didn't realize for certain charges, it doesn't matter. They will come and get you. Statute of limitations are not over. And maybe he was a little bit bragging too much. He could have been sitting at a bar talking about it. I bet you what he did was he told stories about it, or maybe even said that he still had the gun or something. And then they found it or they got it. Or it could be very well that he had some sort of detail that he knew about the murder that nobody else would know because it wasn't publicly released. And that's how they can link him to it. There's a couple of different ways they can link it to him still at this point. And two of them I just described. Nameless is saying, check the revenue generated by hockey and then compare it to the other big sports in North America. Not even close. I feel bad. I don't want to dump on hockey because I am a proud Canadian and I do want hockey to be strong as a sport. But I don't want it to be strong at the detriment of my team and trying to hurt my team to push itself back up. No, I don't want it to do that. I think we can all coexist. MSJ is right. We don't need to be doing a versus. I only get mad at hockey when it's hurting my team. And when it does, then I get real mad at them. And Leaf Nation can be hurtful to the Raptors Nation in really weird, fucked up ways. Trust me. They really, really can. Yeah, let's see. MSJ saying if it's Molly Weir, the same one on YouTube, I've gone back and forth on b-ball with her. She knows the game well. I'm pretty sure it is. She's a known personality around Raptor spaces, and we appreciate her. I've seen a lot of her stuff, and I've pretty much usually agreed with her. She's usually in line with the things I care about. So I appreciate her being in spaces with Chev yesterday. Top saying, I agree with Scottie. The NBA offseason is way too long. We definitely need to start the season in mid-September after a couple of weeks of training camp. Eliminate back-to-backs. That's a great idea, and I agree with Top on this. You know, in some ways, that part of the season is starting a little bit earlier, but maybe we can go even earlier. And some of the players will argue, no, the offseason is not even long enough. Scottie may be in the minority on that. Of him being so anxious to play basketball because he loves playing so much. These other guys, remember, these are the guys who want load management. They want to sit around and maybe just collect checks and not have to work too hard. So, yeah, telling them they got to come back early, take less of a summer, they're not going to like that. They're not going to like that. And I like this. This is what somebody said to Scottie when we were talking about this yesterday. They said, well, don't worry, Scottie. Next summer, you're going to have the shortest summer ever when you win the championship. I was like, yes. Whoever said that in the comments, you're my buddy. You're my friend. So you worry about the long summer this year. Well, you don't want it to be long next year. Play very long into the summer, and then your summer will be shorter, Scott. That's how it works right there. You know, he said something, too, yesterday. It was really crazy. He's talking about the Chicago Bulls game with the Bulls and losing in the play-in game. And he said, never again. He said this exactly. He said, that is never going to happen again. Never again. He said it with that kind of anger, and he said it like a couple times. Never again will that happen, is what he was saying. He hates losing, seriously. And that Chicago game was embarrassing to him. He really hated that game. Seriously, I could tell from the way he was talking about it last night. He really hated how they went out against the Bulls like that. He don't want that. No, he doesn't. Cool Cat saying, damn, no COVID, please, on the team. He's just sniffly. He says he's not sick. He just says he had like a stuffy nose is what he said. We were asking him, he was like, are you sick, Scott? Are you sick? He's like, no, I just got a stuffy nose. And he got really tired around 11. And Erica starts saying, just go to bed, Scottie. Erica starts saying, just go to bed, Scottie. It's hilarious. Let's see. Name is saying the max a player can be paid in the NHL is 14 million. That's like an average baller in NBA. Yeah, I don't really want to get too much into this like this because in some ways I don't want to turn off Leaf Nation. I like Leaf Nation to feel comfortable and welcome here to an extent, as long as they're positive Raptor fans also. If they're a Leaf fan that kind of is negative towards the Raptors, partly because of what we talked about, then I'm not about it. But no, there's no reason to do this, Nameless. It's all good. And see, basic training, you're insulting him. He's like, well, what's your point? And there you go. It's just economics. I'm going to say the same damn thing about the WNBA, and that's kind of just mean. That's what a lot of people say is, oh, the WNBA doesn't make enough money to fly in private jets. Well, the NHL just doesn't make as much money as the NBA. We don't need to be like that. We don't need to be like that. They're different sports and different things, and they're in different places with growth. And the WNBA is still a very young league. And that's something that people bully the WNBA about. Well, y'all don't make any money. Well, they are going to make more and more money as time goes on. Watch. Yeah, not even close. All right, Nameless. You missed that point? Okay, I'll explain it. Players can only be paid by a proportion of revenue generated. Understand? Basic training days. Everyone understands that, but what's your point? Basic training day is not arguing what you're saying, but in some ways, I'm with basic training on this. We don't need to aggravate Leaf Nation unnecessarily. I have my reasons for why I've had problems with them in the past, but in general, I like Leaf fans because I get to know them first, and if they're those kind of Leaf fans that are kind of extra and annoying and really, then I'm like, okay, I don't really need this person around me. But if they're people like Basic Training Day, who's obviously a Toronto sports fan who loves all of his teams, there's no reason for us to alienate them by really bashing and hating on the Leafs too much. I want the Leafs to win. I want the Leafs to be successful. I like the team historically. My father was a Leaf fan in the 50s. He went to the Maple Leaf Gardens and saw them when they were winning Stanley Cups back in the day. So the history of my family being Leaf fans from being here in East York, here in Toronto, is very strong. And it goes all the way back like 70 years. So I'm just saying, there's, I'm a Leaf Nation person historically, but in some ways I moved away from them partly because of stupid stuff. Yeah, Nameless, I'm not going to read your insults anymore, guys, because in some ways it's not necessary. I love you, Paisan. No reason to agitate. Basic Training saying soccer makes less than hockey in North America. Does that make hockey a better sport, Nameless? And this is another one. I just saw a piece recently on tennis. Oh my God, tennis players don't make anything. Did y'all know that like the top 100 players in the tennis make some money, but if you're in like the top from 200 to 100, you're making nothing, and you don't have a team with you, and you pay all your costs, and they don't pay you anything. Being a pro tennis player pays nothing, and there's some of the best prestige and some of the best things, and it's the most individualistic sport, and they have it in a pay structure that's absolutely horrible. The players only get 18% of the profits from the Grand Slams. Isn't that crazy? They generate so much money off of them and they hardly get any of it. The tennis players need a union. The tennis players need a new system of payment for them. Does that make tennis any worse of a sport than other sports because their players get underpaid? No. In some ways, it makes me respect them even more. That to become somebody like Milos, you have to go through like spending and get through all these levels. Some of these people don't get in there because they just don't have money to pay. There's so many good tennis players that don't get anywhere because they can't do it financially. So it's interesting. That's my point to this. It doesn't mean these sports aren't better than each other in that way. That just means that the money is being spent on it more. That's all it is. Let's see. Trevor J saying it's almost time for basketball and fun times. Let's go Raptors. I love it, Trevor J. And let me see the lineup he's got there. Hang on. He's got Pascal, Scottie, OG, Dennis, Grady, me, Hubie, and Monique. I love it. Basic Training saying hockey is our national sport. In many ways, this is a Canadian channel. Disrespecting hockey isn't cool. Yeah. In some ways, I have a family that, like, my mom's side is all in Manitoba, and I have female cousins that play hockey. I have people in my family that are very diehard hockey people that absolutely love hockey. And I try to respect hockey in general. I respect the NHL. I respect hockey. But in some ways, I have problems with Leaf fans that are anti-Raptors because of that. In some ways, I have to be the inverse. It's complicated. It's a love-hate relationship with the Leafs with me. It really is. It really, really is. Cowboy saying national sport is lacrosse, but no worries. Fact checked. And honestly, Cowboy's actually right. But Hockey is kind of, it's the national pastime, I guess. I don't know how you would call this. I don't know. National sport, national pastime. That's the same thing, I guess. G saying, speaking of Toronto teams, I think the Blue Jays win today. They clinch a wild card spot. Yeah, big win for them last night. Continue to stay alive for their postseason hopes. And yeah, let's hope that they are successful today and get this today, G. We were talking about it in the stream last night, the Jays winning. And Scottie is a bit of a Jays fan. He is, actually. He's kind of admitting to that. It's pretty cool. That would be good for the city. Jays getting in the playoffs would be very, very good. Even if it's a wild card, we just need him to get in there and do it. Yeah, there you go. Name is saying, don't get me started on paganism. Whoops, I mean Christianity. All right, yeah, we get into politics. In some ways, I don't ever want to get into religion on this channel. I seriously don't. That may be the one topic that I don't want to go heavy on. We may gloss over it, surface level, but I don't like getting into religion. In fact, in some ways, religion does not exist in my life. It really doesn't. Spirituality does, but religion really doesn't. Stargate saying these non-Raptor fans in Chev Space were downplaying OG's defensive abilities and basically saying we overrate him, that he isn't even comparable to Anthony Davis or Bam. Those are good people to compare him to, though. Those are about right where he is, but they were saying he's nowhere close to them. Yeah. Yeah, this is the thing. They're shaped by the media machine to make them downgrade OG. OG's been downgraded by the media down there to the extent where they don't say his name correctly. They disrespect him. They kind of made his name a joke in some ways down there. And that's all part of the build of the opinion of how good OG is that, once again, that U.S. perception war downgrading our guys. So they say we upgrade them. Well, maybe it's somewhere in between. Maybe we are slightly upgrading them, overrating them. But we may be closer to the reality of who these people are than y'all that are putting them way down lower than who they are. I mean, seriously, we're looking at the same person, but from other sides. And I see OG as being, if not the best defender in the league, definitely one of the top 3 defenders in the league, at least. Cowboy saying OG's a fucking man. That's right. Put OG on blast, Cowboy. That's right. O.G. That's right, Tom Duke. I don't shoot to miss. That's right. Basic training saying, I know lacrosse is a literal national sport. That's why I'm saying it in many ways. It's all good basic training. Once again, y'all, I don't want to pick on basic training for being a hockey head, for loving basketball and hockey. There's no reason to do this. MSJ is exactly right. There's no reason for us to be haters towards them. In some ways, they're our brother team, and we need to be respectful of them. Let's see. Tom Duke saying living legend, and he wants a alley-oop to him. Cowboys want an alley-oop to Tom Duke. All right, we'll give an alley-oop to Tom Duke. All good, basic. See, respect. Seriously, that's the one thing here. We're not trying to divide. It may sound like it sometimes. We're just trying to carve out a good place for us to be positive and passionate about the Raptors, and we will fight for them. That's basically what I'm saying. Let's see. Yeah, Tom Duke has got the basketball in the basket. Bang. It's all good, bro. All right, basic training. No disrespect. We love you, bro, and I appreciate you being here with us. That's the thing, in some ways it's like, look, he's here. We're spending time with us. Let's not be disrespectful to him, guys. Nameless is saying, and then they don't like colored players who play hockey either. Weirdos, man. Some ways that I worry about in some ways, like out West, if you're a young black guy and you want to play hockey, it's a scary kind of route that you have to go through in some ways. This is where there may be stories down the road where you're just like, man, this is crazy hazing, or this is some sort of really fucked up hockey culture and how the teammates treat each other. And in some cases, this can be very bad if you're a person of color. Yeah, I worry about this kind of stuff in some ways. Cowboys got OG on blast. Stargate saying also they were comparing our MacDaniel brother to the one in Minnesota, saying we have the Thanos. Well, the Mini has the Giannis, basically saying we have the way lower caliber brother. Well, in some ways, they're not totally off, but the difference between the MacDaniels is a lot closer than the difference between the Anacontos. Thanos is older than Giannis. That's the interesting thing. He's actually the oldest brother, and he's not as good as his brother, obviously. And this is true. Jalen is older than Jaden. His older brother is the one on Toronto, and he is not better than Jaden. So there is a little bit of truth to their argument. But the thing is, the MacDaniel brothers are going to be very close in how good they are because Jalen is about to make a leap. He's very much projected to make a leap, and this is why we targeted him. That's showing in his last little bit in Charlotte and in the little bit in Philadelphia last year that Jalen, like, this is why we got him. Our scouts are saying this dude is in a point in his career with his development and who he is that he's about to break through at a certain thing. And that's why we recognized it, and that's why we went and got him and stole him from the Sixers. The Sixers wanted to retain him. And a lot of the Sixers fans are upset that they lost McDaniels this summer because they see what I'm talking about right now, that Jalen McDaniels is about to break through. So after we see what he does this season, let's come back and talk to these people about the difference between Jalen and Jaden McDaniels. It could very well be that Jalen's a lot closer to Jaden very soon. Let's just put it that way. Cowboys saying, Raptors are stacked. Watch out, NBA. Here we come. See you at the parade, Tom Duke. Monique saying, Lex, now I know who Pascalpropaganda is. Way to go. He deserves more media looks. Before I didn't know. Fuck, Iman, shaking my fucking head. Monique is a real one. She's talking about the interview that Yahoo put out. They're doing previews on the Raptors, and they're kind of going over different players and expectations for the season. And they had, as a guest on the show, Pascalpropaganda from Twitter. This guy, I've seen him before. I knew what he looked like. He's really, really a good guy. He's standing up for Siakam. He got upset seeing how people treated him after the bubble, so he made a Twitter account to stand up for Siakam. That's a true Raptor-freak kind of activity to do. And I really appreciate him being on there because he's a positive guy. He's a positive mindset. In fact, his mantra is very similar to mine. He saw a lot of negativity around the Raptors nation, and he wanted to be more of a voice of positivity. And that's why he's doing what he's doing. And so he's bird of feather with us too, like Molly Weir. And I love seeing him on a mainstream place like Yahoo Sports. Now, she's talking about Iman, the host. Yeah, she talks too much. In some ways, she rambles and rambles and rambles, and she's really not saying anything. She's kind of talking in circles. And at one point, she said, like, the Raptors fans should be mad about how the team's being run. And then she also said she predicts us to be bad this year. So, yeah, fuck you, Iman, or whoever you are. I used to follow you on Twitter. Your tweets can be okay, but half your stuff is negative, too. And that's what I'm saying. I'm sick of negative mindsets. You guys want to have a negative mindset? I ain't got no time for your content. So, yeah, I'm not listening to you. And if you're towing the line of negativity with Amit Man and the rest of the Yahoo crew, yeah, fuck y'all. Mike Roach, all y'all, they're being negative the last couple of days about the Raptors. Yeah, let's wait for Media Day. Get the answers and hear what they have to say about your questions. There you go. Monono Alley-oop. You want Monique to get a dunk for that one? I agree with that. I'm going to give her 2 dunks for praising Pascal Propaganda and for also calling out the interviewer. Thank you, Mo. We love you. Let's see. G saying, haha, I did have to go and press the send button. Yes, didn't realize Jalen was so tall and a good 3-point shooter. Was that right? That you didn't realize he was so tall? Yeah, he's like 6'11". So is Scottie. He reiterated it again last night. They come in there and they're like, how tall are you, Scottie? How tall are you? He's like, 6'11". I told y'all. He's 6'11". He said it again last night. Kareem saying, Lex, I got the fantasy reminder email for the draft tomorrow. Is it really at 6:45 a.m.? What? No, it should be at 9:45 a.m. Do you have your clock on a different standard time? Because mine, I just looked at the page. It says 9:45 Eastern time is the time it says here. Yeah, 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. So no, it's not 6:45 unless you're where Tom lives. Unless you're out there by Tom, then it's 6:45. Cowboys saying the Raptors are an iron skillet. When they heat up, they're going to do some cooking, eh? The skillet appears once again. I love it. Stargate saying everybody's entitled to like whatever sport they choose, but just don't respect and be disparaging to one sport in order to uplift the sport you like hockey lovers do to basketball. That's what I'll agree with. And in some ways, we can be guilty of that too, Stargate. We are being disparaging towards hockey. We don't need to be disparaging towards a general sport. If there's individuals from that world that are being disparaging, then we can be disparaging to those individuals. But we shouldn't be disparaging just in general to the NHL and the Leafs, because in some ways that's not the enemy totally. In some ways, I know we talked about how the NHL probably does try and hurt the Raptors or the NBA because they're scared. But in some ways also it's not worth going after the whole kit and caboodle. It's very individual people like Marner MVP and Scottie Barnes Twitch stream last night. Kareem saying, never mind. I checked the fantasy league. It says 9:45 a.m. I'm asking and answering my own questions on live stream. What a time to be alive. There you go. It's a do-it-yourself world. You go to Sharper's Drug Mart now, Kareem, and you're doing the checking out. It's just the same thing. It's like, okay, well, Kareem can answer his own question in the chat. He can go down to Shopper's Drug Mart and scan his own groceries. Yeah. You're just more autonomous at this point. Tom Duke is saying 6:45 for me. Let's go. We should be doing mock drafts right now as well. Do some today if you can. I did one earlier this week, and man, it's gonna be so fun and weird. I'm gonna have fun with this tomorrow. Remember, the one rule about our Raptors draft, our fantasy draft, is only one Raptor per team. If you draft a Raptor, you're not allowed to roster another Raptor on your team after that. There's only one Raptor for team in our league. We are Raptor fans, and I know everybody's gonna want Raptors on their team, so we can't hoard them. Nobody can go on there and just pick a Raptor every round. You got to pick one, and that's it. You're done. And I will be keeping track. And because I'm the commissioner and I have commissioner tools, if you do it, I will correct it. I will correct it. Andrew Gutierrez is saying that's crazy. I don't even know what he's reacting to, but we'll go ahead and we'll let him say it. Andrew, welcome. 6:30 every morning, talking Raptors. We'll be back tomorrow for a draft. Yeah. Stargate saying Eric Kareen, although he has that weird dorky voice, asks very good questions. Also, some of the French reporters ask pretty good questions too. Yeah, I wish they'd get interpreters for those French questions. They don't have the closed captioning up fast enough. In some ways, I wish I paid closer attention to my high school French and my university French at Florida State. Yeah, I get some of it, the gist of it. I know some of what they're saying, but when they're interviewing Siakam and Boucher in French, I have a hard time at that part of the interview. And I know that's going to happen on Monday. And in some ways, I need an interpreter for the French part. I do. And I want to know what they're saying. Eric Kareen is very similar to Michael Grange. He tries to pull things apart, and he'll ask controversial questions. Yeah. He's not totally for the health of the Raptors himself. He likes to stir shit too. Trust me. MSJ saying you have to think a murderer is a nutcase. Gave himself away in the end. You know, listen, he's been sitting on that for so long. He's probably wanted to brag about it for a long, long time. I mean, seriously, it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. He killed Tupac. And at some point, he's like, I just got to tell somebody. You fucked up. You really fucked up. MSJ saying the only verses I like is Kenny versus Spenny. I love that show too. You know, Kenny is on YouTube and he releases the episodes all the time on YouTube for free. So if you follow Kenny Hotz on YouTube, you can watch old Kenny versus Spenny for free on YouTube from time to time. He also does things where he does commentary back, where he goes and watches the old episodes and does directors like commentary over the episodes. Like he talks about why they filmed this way and the issues he was having with Spencer that day or something like that. It's really funny actually to hear Kenny go back and talk about like humiliating Spencer in the weird ways he did in hindsight and like his little nuggets of information. So highly recommend following Kenny Hotz on YouTube if you're a fan of Kenny versus Spenny. Yeah. OG on Blast by Fiercey. I love it. Mo's saying next, she's saying media needs to start asking Chris Boucher the questions so I can have him cuss them out. Man, oh man, I would love it, especially with Michael Grange. Yeah, I'm wondering if Chris needs to talk to Mike Roach. Seriously, you're working with Mike Roach. He's your co-host, and he's actively causing you shit. So can you just tell him just like, yo, bro, why did you talk about OG like that on social media this week, man? Why did you do that? Seriously. Why are you doing that? You know, can you go talk to Ahmed Man, Chris Boucher, and kind of set the whole Yahoo family straight? Since your hustle plays on the Yahoo Sports Network, you talk to these guys. Go in there and talk to them. Mike Roach is saying the episodes are coming soon. There'll be new Hustle Play episodes with Chris Boucher. I'm very much looking forward to that. That's right. Cool Cat saying the NBA offseason is family time and skills development. Good for vacations, mental health, wellness. Yeah. You know, Scotty's all about just playing basketball, practicing basketball, hanging out with his dog. He went down to Florida and spent time with his family a bit. You know, gave his mom that car. You know, good things this summer, but it's been a long summer. And he wishes, you know, he hadn't played a competitive game since what, April? Yeah, he's ready to get back out there. It's been what, 6 months almost? Yeah, he's ready to get back out there. He really is. MSJ saying the Stanley Cup still is the hardest championship to win. Those guys are half broken and still play. See, there you go. He's giving some respect and shine on that. You know, I won't disagree with that to a degree either. I won't disagree with that either. So there you go. We'll give some shine to the NHL and the hard work that the NHL players have to do to get to a Stanley Cup for sure. Mo's saying people watch and subscribe, y'all. Thank you, Mo. Stargate saying hockey is a sport. I respect all sports. I'm a hockey fan. I didn't culturally grow up with the game, and that's okay. But I don't go around bashing it and spreading vitriol about it. Most basketball people don't. Most of the hate and vitriol comes from the hockey side, and you can't deny this. I mean, I won't disagree with you, but in some ways we got to be better than them. I know it's the classic cases, like you're the person who gets slighted and you have to be the better person, and you hate doing that. But in some ways, that strength of character and continue to do that is still the thing we need to do, even though we're not. We're coming back at them and punching back. Tom Duke saying Mo is correct. Also, unfortunately, it is the time for all of you to say whatever you want, then big bags zip it. That's right. The media has a blank canvas. They can fill it in, like I've been saying the last couple of days. And they're trying to fill the narrative of what the Raptors season is going to look like this year. And in some ways, they don't want us to be totally good, some of them. So they will kind of they can say whatever they want because there's no reality to how the Raptors are doing. We'll have to see how they do on the court. And then they have to zip it, like Tom said. That's right. That's right. Kareem saying, I was babysat by a hockey family, and they bought me my first pair of skates when I was 4. They took me power skating 3 days a week. I love hockey, but I'm a Wings fan. Leafs are trash. Kareem Thomas, and thank you for the cutoff, too, at the same time. Hilarious. So he got indoctrinated into the game by a hockey family that he was babysat by, and he started playing. That's fantastic. I love that. Seriously. I want people to have access to sports if they want to play it. That's part of the problem I have with hockey is it prices out people that may not be able to play. And it's kind of like a exclusive club, like how golf is with country clubs and stuff like that. Oh, you want to play golf? Well, can you be a member of our club? What the fuck kind of mentality is that? Seriously. Trevor J saying, can we all just get along? We laugh and cry in the same house. There you go. Trevor J is doing the Rodney King here. And I'm with you, Trevor. I'm with you. Kareem Thomas saying, one more thing. Fuck the Heat. Sorry, I'm watching Raptors game in an hour on NBA TV Canada. Are you watching the triple overtime thriller from a few years ago? That's an awesome game. That's so good. Cowboy saying, smash the like button. And Evelyn saying, way to go, Trevor J. We are family. Stargate saying, if Mo is cursing, you know it's serious. I know. No, Mo's an underrated cursor for sure. Mo's an underrated cursor, and it is serious. Like if you see Mo starting to cuss a little bit, yeah, it's serious. Yeah, I'll get behind that. Cowboy's saying that's what I was thinking. Stargate all alley oop to Trevor. All right, you want an alley oop to Commissioner J? All right, we'll get Trevor J aboard there. Cowboy is just like assist master. He just calls them out. Stargate saying we didn't start out disparaging hockey, Lex. We were provoked into it. We took it for years from hockey fans and kept quiet. But at some point, you need to retort and defend your sport when it goes too far. Yeah, I won't disagree with this. I mean, listen, I was in the middle of it at MLSE working in the Air Canada Center around 1999 to 2004. I was an employee that made Mr. Sub at all the Leaf and Raptor games, all the concerts, all the WWF, all the Toronto Rock lacrosse games. I was at all that stuff at events. So I really got to know the cultures of the fan bases. I was at Leaf games. I saw Leaf game culture in the arena with the Leaf fans coming to buy subs from me. I saw Raptors culture. I saw the differences, and I saw different things said by different people, whether they're fans, employees of MLSE, all that kind of stuff. And I knew in a lot of ways there were powers within MLSE already holding down the Toronto Raptors from working inside and seeing it myself. And that's what I'll say there. All right, I've got to be in the comments. Let me see if there's anything I forgot to talk about. Remember, it's Truth and Reconciliation Day today, guys. Wear orange in support of our, getting the Truth and Reconciliation Act to happen in a way that is effective to help the people of this continent that are indigenous. There is a media day on Monday, y'all. They have the lineup. Who's going to be there? Masai, Darko, Pascal, Scottie, Dennis, Gary, OG, and Jakob are on the docket for doing the interviews starting at 9 a.m. on Monday morning. My stream will start at 8:45 on Monday morning, just so y'all know. Let's do the Instagram stories. We'll start with DeMar DeRozan. He has got a brand new basketball hoop set up at his house for his daughters. It is a new hoop for DR to start shooting hoops on. I love it. I love it so much. I love you, DR. Even if you were Dr. Kevorkian to our season last year. I still love you, DR, and I want you to be a great basketball player. And we love one of our GOATs, greatest Raptor of all time, DeMar DeRozan, always in our hearts, and we support him. Thad Young he's doing a lot of talks this summer. You know, Thad Young was all about training his boys this summer and also going and doing motivational speeches, doing podcasts, talking about being an entrepreneur and really, really spreading his knowledge of business to other NBA players and other young people to how to be a successful businessman. So I applaud you, Thad Young, with all the work you're doing, and whether it's not basketball or basketball. It's great stuff. Precious Achua is getting his hair did, y'all. He got his hair done pretty interesting yesterday. He has really interesting hair. It's not like the long braids coming down the side. He's got little pop balls around his head. So Precious has a new look, y'all. You're gonna see him when you see him. You're gonna see his new hair. He's got it all poofy and clumpy, and I like it. It looks good. It looks real good. He's also down at Neighborhood Studios, and there's some art, and he's got a cool shirt on. His style is awesome, and he's got these crazy glasses on. So you go, Precious. The new look is awesome coming in the season. People were asking Scottie last night, what is your hair going to look like for media day? The ladies want to know what Scottie's going to be rocking when he gets up there and he does his interview on Monday morning. Gary's still at Remy training, man. This guy has not come up to Toronto yet, and they're just showing great highlight clips of him. He does a windmill slam in this one clip. Holy crap. Gary gets up there and throws it down in a windmill slam. Really, really cool to see him working with Remy in Hollywood. That's been kind of his key place to go. There's another really awesome dunk. Maybe Gary needs to do the dunk competition. Holy crap. Holy crap. Shay, this is Dennis's brother. I'm watching him too because Dennis shows up a lot on his stuff. They were at the basketball game in Germany for the league in Germany that Dennis supports. And they were very much chanting MVP chants for Dennis Schroeder in Germany at this game. The whole crowd giving him an ovation as a German hero. So cool. And of course, we see Shay and Dennis. They got to be getting ready to come here. I have a feeling that what's going to happen is that they're going to come here at the last minute, and Ellen's going to be in charge of getting everything set up here for them. Like Dennis is just going to go straight to training camp and just get right involved with the team. And meanwhile, Ellen's going to be trying to set up their life here in Toronto very quickly with the kids and stuff like that. So I have a feeling that we may see the inside content on that of Ellen trying to find a place and getting them set up here in Toronto. It's very likely the way they show everything in their life. Mr. New York City has some quotes today. Marquise is saying, you become unstoppable when you work on things that people can't take away from you. Things like your mindset, your character, your personality, transparency, and your entire being. Wow. Marquise, are you speaking to me? Because this is things that I very much value. My mindset, my character, and my personality, and being myself. And that makes me who I am on this channel. And because I don't work for Rogers or TSN or anybody else, I make my own rules. So in some ways, I can be absolutely me. And I love that. Thank you, Marquise, for that comment. And it struck real hard to me personally, because these are things I very much value also. He's also got a great picture of him with some young lady. I have no idea who she is, but she very much loves Marquise very much. You can tell. Dennis is saying, let's go Braunschweig. So he's actually cheering on his hometown team. He shows him in the crowd with some of his friends at the Volkswagen Hall in Braunschweig. It was a sellout. He's very happy about that. He wanted it to be sold out, so he's really hoping they'd be there. And they did. They came out. He had the cup with him. He's taking pictures of the fans as an MVP. Really, really awesome stuff. Dennis, your dream summer has been awesome. So, so awesome. I think that's about it. Let me see if there's anybody else I want to cover. Excuse me. This is something that happened, guys, that I need to talk about. Nav Bhatia has opened a brand new Hyundai dealership, and he had an opening ceremony for it. And there were some important people from the Raptors that were there to help him open up this new dealership in Mississauga is where this is located. Darko at the event, Scottie Barnes at that event yesterday, Dr. Alex McKechnie at that event, Grady Dick at that event, and also Canadian O'Shea Brissett, just out of the blue randomness, helping to open Nav's latest, newest car dealership in Mississauga. So Scottie was during the day probably working out, then went out to Mississauga and helped Nav cut the tape for one of his new dealerships that just got opened and built. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I love seeing Darko, Alex McKechnie, Grady and Scottie all together for this. Very, very cool. And there was a little bit of speaking by different people, but really, really awesome stuff by a superfan Nav opening his Genesis Mississauga dealership and having the players there to be there with him and celebrate it with them. Awesome stuff all around. I love seeing that. And that's the end of the Raptors Instagram check for today. Let me see what else I got to talk about. I talked about Josh Primo. We talked about our draft. It's in less than 24 hours, guys. We did the Hubie Brown quotes. So I've got my checklist pretty filled in, and I'm almost at two hours. I got 30 seconds. So let's see what else you guys are saying while I was doing the chat, the Instagram check. Let's see. Monique is saying, assuming a full season, Pascal is expected to pass Vince Carter as the fourth leading scorer in Raptors history. That's probably very highly. Probably going to happen. Pass Alvin Williams with the fifth most assists in Raptors history. Amazing stuff. I love that, Mo. I love those stat factoids, and I hope Siakam gets these. I hope he does. And Alvin will say something about it in the broadcast when it happens. Well, Pascal just passed me on assists. Isaac saying, Scottie ranked my number 2 Clippers 6th, playoff bound, touch grass. Yeah, you're paying attention to that. Oh, Isaac's taken to the Clippers because they're his in-season tournament team in the Trevor J Challenge, and he's proud of Scottie's ranking of them. I love that, Isaac. You go, Isaac. You are an MVP this week, honestly. You are definitely an MVP this week. Mo's saying W stream all around. Keep at it as always. Thanks, Mo. Listen, I know sometimes you may be busy in a way, and I may be busy in a way, but one of us is there, and we fill in the blanks. I appreciate you, Mo, as a partner in the Raptor Freak world, as far as like keeping us up to date and informed. If I miss something, Mo will catch it, and vice versa. So I'm very proud and happy to be able to tell you about what happened on Scottie's Twitch last night so that you're informed also. It's awesome. Stargate saying on a side note, Lex, Chev was talking about this grocery store in Tallahassee that was a big pickup joint where all the college kids, when you hook up with people. Yeah, this is very well known. In fact, is so well known that Playboy magazine in the 90s ranked this grocery store as one of the top 10 places in the United States, not just in Tallahassee, to pick somebody up as a pickup place. It's the Publix grocery store chain. And it's a Publix called ClubHub. It was actually my grocery store that I shopped at in my neighborhood in Tallahassee when I lived there. And it very much was that. It was on the college side of town. And there were definitely a lot of single people in there looking for people. So this is very much a real place. And yes, I used to shop there. And we were ranked in the top 10 on Playboy's list of top 10 places in the United States to pick up. Yeah, there's the full story there. ClubHub, that's right. ClubHub, you got to go down there and go get the ClubHub sub, which is they have sub sandwiches they make there. They're amazing with such fresh, good ingredients. They go to the deli in the grocery store and cut the meats on the meat cutter fresh right there when they make it for you at that moment. So yeah, Publix is a very prominent grocery store chain in Florida, and the ClubHub is what they're talking about. Yeah, at White Drive. No, not White Drive. It's Ocala and Tennessee Street is where that Publix is located. West Tennessee Street and Ocala. Yeah, there's a few Publixes in Toronto and Tallahassee, but ClubHub is at West Tennessee Street and Ocala. Yeah, I'll tell you exactly where it is. Right there. Yeah. Thanks for bringing up ClubHub. That's kind of a fun memory for me. Just all of a sudden. Not that I was picking up women there, because honestly, I was from Tallahassee. I had girlfriends from high school that were around the city. I didn't need to go meet new college students like a lot of people that came to town. So anyway, all right, let's keep going. Finish this up real quick. Mo's saying pass Morris Peterson with the third most games in Raptors history. That's a big one. Iron Man Morris Peterson. And Siakam averages just 2 assists per game this season. Here's a full list of it all. No, Mo, we're going to have to track Siakam possibly getting these accolades this year. I hope he gets all of them. I really do. Cool Cat saying Pascal's current Raptors legend status is top 10 right now for all areas. Yeah, I still rank him. There's 4 GOATs in my book. And we know Kyle's number 1, DeMar, Fred, and Pascal. Those are the top 4 Raptors in my book of all time. Those are the top 4. You can put Kawhi and Vince wherever you want on your list, but my list has those guys at the top. That's right. And Pascal may end up being my number 1 very soon. He may very well be. Fred's out of the running now. He's gone. So he's always going to be below DeMar and Kyle. I'm sorry, Fred. That's just how it is. You're going to always be at least 3rd. But Siakam's still running with us. He could jump over Lowry and Siakam in my ranking. I mean, DeRozan in my rankings. Yeah. Yeah. ClubHub has a legend. It's listed in Playboy in the publication. That's right. It's so Playboy was ranking that. Best places to pick up. ClubHub in Tallahassee. Yeah, it's crazy. Church Street. What, Trevor J? And Cowboy saying, I don't have an orange shirt, so I'm wearing granny swag today. Everyone have a blessed day and be safe. Peace out. Adriana's here with me. We're going to spend some time this afternoon. I appreciate all y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Please like, comment, share. And if you want to join the channel as a member, it has privileges. It does. It's more likely you can get into our fantasy league, which we're starting tomorrow. Well, not this year because we're full. We got 20 teams. They're going to be drafting tomorrow morning at 9:30. We start our stream, and the draft starts at 9:45. So if you're not going to be able to be there and you have a team, put auto draft on. And if you are, let's get ready to have fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing it last year, and I expect to have a lot of fun doing it this year too. Thanks, Mo. And I hope you'll come and join. I know you're going to watch and enjoy watching it with us. And maybe we'll hear some of your opinions on some of the draft picks we got. We could do, instead of Jay Billis's pick, we'll do Monique's picks. You know, Jay Billis is always talking about the draft picks and how he analyzes it. Well, maybe Mo will give us analyzation of our picks tomorrow. Yeah. Cowboy saying, I'll be at Young and Wellesley in about 20, Trevor. You want to have a pop? You want to have a beer? There you go. Cowboy, you want to go link up with Trevor J? I think Trevor might still be in the States right now. He may not be up here yet. All right, y'all. Thanks again for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll be back tomorrow. Let's go, Hubie Brown. We love you. Happy 90th birthday, Hubie. And basketball world is better because you existed and we're a part of who you are and the whole zeitgeist of the NBA and its history. Thank you, Hubie, you GOAT. We love you, and we're sharing the love for you today. All right, let's go, Raptors.